Well, I'm delighted to be joined before this afternoon's match by Surrey opening batter Danni Wyatt-Hodge, who's had a great start to the Blast and to her Surrey career as a whole. You must be enjoying your new home, Danni.
Oh, I mean, what is there to not like about playing for Surrey? It's been absolutely unbelievable. Feel so honoured and lucky to call this my home. The history that the club's got as well, it's just amazing to be part of it. I'm still pinching myself actually, and every time I walk down the steps coming out onto this beautiful ground, just feeling incredibly honoured. And it's been a great start as well, and hopefully kick on and contribute to some more winning games for Surrey.
You've certainly been doing that so far. You've been very open about your sort of disappointment about missing out on this ODI series, but it has given you the opportunity to come and score a lot of runs for Surrey in the Blast. Things have gone really well for you and for the team. I guess that's all you can do, right, when you're left out of a squad?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously I was very disappointed, but I'm just going to concentrate on what's put in front of me and really enjoy myself here at Surrey and enjoy my life off the pitch as well. And what will be, and just keep smiling and hopefully contributing to more wins.
The team going really well in this tournament, 3 out of 3, the only team with a 100% record, top of the table. Atmosphere amongst the squad must be good.
Yeah, it's great vibes. We're having a great laugh, which is what it's all about, isn't it? Doing TikToks yesterday in the rain delays in Manchester. But yeah, I mean, if you look at our squad, we've got some world-class players throughout. Even the girls that unfortunately are missing out are unbelievable players who can win games of cricket for Surrey on any day. So we've just spoken about, it's been a tough few days with back-to-back games and lots of travel, so it's really important that we get our heads down, stay hydrated, stay chilled and level, and when it's time to be on it, we're on it.
What about the addition of Grace Harris, someone who over the winter you probably weren't that pleased to see, but when now she's here on your side, she seems like a great personality and obviously is contributing already with both bat and ball.
Yeah, I've played with Grace a few times around the world, and we all know what she can bring, even just having her around the group. It's great to have her experience around, and she's a great laugh as well. There's never a dull moment when Grace is around, that's for sure. But yeah, she's absolutely smashing, isn't she, with bat, ball and in the field, and we're very lucky to have her.
You mentioned obviously the tight turnaround. You were in Manchester yesterday in the rain of Manchester, but you managed to just sneak a DLS win. What was it like when Paige hit that 6 just to get you ahead of the rate with the rain pouring down?
Yeah, it was a great win, wasn't it? And they're always really hard, those games, because you don't know if it's going to rain, if you're going to come off. And obviously if you get out, then DLS shoots straight up. So we did really well to hang in there, and in tough conditions as well. I thought we played really well, and it's just a matter of getting that win on the board, wasn't it? Another win, especially away from home, is top draw for all of us.
Was there a bit of an outburst of joy when that ball sailed over the boundary? And that, I guess we knew the end was coming close with the rain pouring down, so to get ahead of the rate with that shot from Paige, it says a lot about her as a player, doesn't it?
Yeah, there was a loud cheer, and then after she hit that 6, it was a matter of just staying calm and not getting out. Like I said, it's always really hard, isn't it, because you don't know if you're going to come off or not, and it's a matter of staying above that rate. So we're very lucky to get the win there as well.
And then very finally, Durham today at the Kia Oval, first standalone game for the team as a professional outfit. Just give us a little preview of the game. What should we make of Durham, and what are you expecting from today?
Durham have got some world-class players in their team, and we're going to have to bring our A game to beat them today, and hopefully we can entertain and inspire the crowd that are here watching us today in this beautiful sunshine. But it's T20 cricket. We're going to look to play our brand every game, and hopefully we come on top.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Cam. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Yeah.
Ready to go across and see another T20 game here at the Kia Oval. Surrey 3 from 3. What are you expecting to see from this team? And first things first, how good has it been to see Tash Farrant back in the side today? She was rested yesterday, but she's back playing cricket.
Yeah, so happy for Tash to be back out and making her Surrey debut actually on Thursday here at the Oval. Obviously, they've been managing her workloads, just bearing in mind her back and looking after her. So obviously didn't travel to Lancashire, so back in the squad again today. Nice just to play home fixtures. Isn't that good? But no, really good, and her impact in the team can be seen immediately. Just the energy she brings around the group and what she does off the pitch as well as on the pitch. So great to see her finally making her Surrey debut.
Well, she adds to this team with both bat and ball. Surrey have been firing, in particular with the bat so far, boosted by the addition of course, Grace Harris in at number 3. Well, she's listed at number 5 on the team sheet, but I suspect she'll be bumped up to number 3, as has been the case so far. The umpires are walking out to the ground. We'll see the guard of honour for the players there. Surrey and Bryony Smith leads her team out. I imagine we'll see Kalia Moore with new ball in hand. That has been the strategy for Surrey so far, to start with spin.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they start here. Obviously, the depth in Surrey is certainly with the bat. Tash Farrant bringing a lot of experience back in with the ball, and that'll be really welcomed because their bowling performances haven't quite been where they would have wanted them to have been. How they open up here will be really interesting to see. Would it be spin and Kalia Moore? Let's see who takes their hat off. There's some warming up of Tilly 14 Coleman at the moment. Susie Bates, high performance batter. Obviously they're overseas at the moment, so she's scored a few runs here during the 100 during her time, so I'm sure she'll be looking forward to opening the batting for Durham here at the Oval today.
It looks like we have a little shuffle in the pack for Durham, because Maddie Villiers is going to be opening the batting with Susie Bates, and we're also going to have a seam opening up for Surrey. So everything we predicted has not come to fruition, and it looks like we're going to have Rhiannon McDonald-Gay bowling the first over for Surrey. Now, Kirstie, you confirmed this to me, and I've been fascinated by the boundary dimensions. Now, bear with me, listeners, because I promise you this is interesting. Whenever Surrey are playing, well, whoever Surrey are playing, they like to shift around their boundary sizes. And today we're on the same wicket as when we played Hampshire a couple of days ago, but the boundary is an entirely different shape. So they've obviously done their research. They want to look into who they've got in the opposition, what strengths and weaknesses have. And today they've gone for the more conventional oval. Against Hampshire, it was skew-if, it was wonky, it was weird.
Yeah, boundaries are certainly longer square of the wicket today, aren't they? But what they do have to remember is, they have to bat on the same dimensions as well. So while they're thinking of the opposition,
McDonald-Gay pulls it away to start the innings, and that was almost a sharp chance in at mid-wicket. 2 runs to the total. The sun is out. It feels like a day for batting, only because it's sunny. I don't know what that actually means in terms of how the pitch will play or anything. When the sun's out, it feels like runs.
Yeah, and it's the same deck that they played on Thursday, and obviously the men played on it afterwards, so it's pretty used. Maybe that influenced Durham's decision to bat first. That's McDonald-Gay to the crease. On the money straight away here, which is nice to see. I think she struggled with her line, particularly the first few balls of her initial overs, so it's good to see her hitting her length straight away and her line particularly. She's characteristic of her is she does shoot on and she does skid, but she also gets a little bit of nip in off the seam, so she likes to take the top of off. So these two batters just do need to be aware of anything on that 4th stump line.
Swing and a miss from Villiers. Opening the batting today is of course the power play. So if you are new to cricket, it means in the first 6 overs Surrey are only allowed to have 2 fielders outside the 25-yard circle. You'll see that 25-yard circle when the kind of shots are a bit wide, and you'll see these discs on the ground. Currently, Surrey have a fielder at deep third and deep square leg. It's a beautiful delivery. Bit of shape. They're able to scamper through for 1.
Yeah, that's that movement that McDonald-Gay tends to get fairly frequently, so Villiers there just looking to pull, but actually just kind of jags back in off a length there and tightens her up. Makes that scoring shot a little bit more difficult. Also makes that catching opportunity at mid-wicket a really viable option for Surrey there. So Phoebe Franklin will be very much in the game with the line that McDonald Gay is bowling at the moment.
Susie Bates to face her first delivery. Now, Susie Bates is so important to this Durham team. So they've played 3 matches so far, Durham. They've won 1, lost 2. Susie Bates has been the top scorer in all 3 fixtures, and on 2 of the occasions has had the best bowling figures as well, which I guess is what you want from your overseas. Might as well get them to do everything possible. Durham also nabbed a win yesterday in the rain, beating Hampshire by 1 run on DLS. Well, an early sign of intent from Susie Bates, charging down the wicket at McDonald Gay. A swing and a miss. It's the end of the first over, and the score is 3 for 9, and a sedate start until that last show of aggression there from Bates.
Yeah, she looks like she's eyeing up that short boundary straight. It is very short straight. I think, I can't remember what the minimum parameters are. I think it's 55 yards. So I would imagine that's right on the money for that. Yeah, fairly sedate start for Durham, just 3 runs from the over. So Surrey will be really happy with that. And Farrant to take the ball at the pavilion end.
It looks like Surrey have seen a bit of swing from McDonald Gay, and they've opted to give Tash Farrant the new ball from the other end. Just her second match back. She didn't open the bowling in her first game, so this is a new experience for this year for the left arm seamer. She'll be bowling over the wicket to Maddie Villiers. Takes the outside half of the bat. Fielded by Moore in the deep. So what's the plan here, Kirstie? Is it as simple as the left arm seamer swinging the ball back into the pads of the right-handers?
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm looking at here is actually this deep backward point, which is a new position that I've not really seen Farrant bowl with before. So there's a clear plan here. It stayed the same for Bates as it has Villiers. So, and again, that last delivery did challenge the outside edge of Villiers' bat. So really interested to see how Farrant plans to attack these 2 batters.
Well, keepers come up to the stumps for this second delivery. That happened in the first game back at the Oval. Farrant bowled 1 ball, and then Chatley went, I'm coming up to the stumps. And I thought if I was Tash Farrant, I'd have been greatly offended by such a move. I haven't got slower over the last year.
Yeah, no, it's it would have been a conversation that they would have had, and one of the key things, and we saw at the end of the last over, is that keeps Susie Bates in her crease. So Kira, very competent behind the stumps, will be thinking, actually, let's just take that element of her game out. While the new ball is swinging as well, obviously, as a batter, coming down the track is a really good option to meet the swing and negate it early doors. So if the keeper's standing up to the crease, you kind of, it's not taken away from you, but you don't have the luxury of wandering down, and if you miss, you're safe. So it is a very attacking option for Surrey to have the keeper up to the stumps with the new ball swinging.
And that'll be 4. Just a bit of width from Farrant, and Bates is able to stab her bat down on delivery and guide it past short third. Frustrating for Surrey, because I don't think Farrant has missed by much there, but the first boundary of the Durham innings is scored by Susie Bates.
Yeah, and that's a shot that comes with a lot of experience there. Farrant, the left armer, swings the ball back in, potentially a little bit of width, looking for some swing outside that off stump, but Bates is very, very strong with her wrists and playing the ball late. She's almost played that behind the keeper's eye line.
She just gave herself some room there. Bates already showing that she's very keen to use the crease. She came down the wicket to McDonald Gay in the first over, and now she's giving herself space to Farrant in the second. But still a very strong start for Surrey. Just the 8 runs scored so far and 11 balls bowled.
Yeah, really strong start this. I think Surrey will be hoping for an early wicket in the power play here too. Superb fielding there by Rhiannon McDonald-Gay. So athletic in the field, this Surrey unit. That's easily safe 4 runs, but again, just piles the pressure back onto Durham as they finish the over, 9 for none from 2.
Well, it's a fantastic start for Surrey. 2 overs gone after Durham won the toss and chose to bat. These two sides have met twice already this season, once in the Metro Bank One Day Cup, and the second time in the T20 we were commentating on together at Guildford. And Surrey actually won both those fixtures quite comfortably, so they'll be confident heading into this third meeting between these two sides. Of course, the difference between the last time Surrey played Durham in the T20 is Susie Bates is allowed to play, and she is on 5 off 7, not quite found her rhythm so far. She's taking strike against McDonald-Gay. Down the track again, this time bowled. Susie Bates misses, McDonald-Gay hits, and that's a huge wicket for Surrey. And there on the board, it's 9 for 1.
Gun barrel straight that from Rhiannon McDonald-Gay. Takes out middle stump, sends it for a few cartwheels and a round off to finish. And yeah, the end of Susie Bates, which will be a welcome wicket here for Surrey, and comes from that pressure they've built. So run rate well below 5 and over currently. Pressure really on the Durham batters to score some runs, sending Susie Bates down the track, and even the experience of Susie Bates couldn't quite send that back over the bowler's head the way that she was planning. Signs of frustration there from Susie Bates.
Well, that delivery didn't swing. It was a bit short of length, and that swing that Kirstie's been explaining that Bates was trying to negate wasn't on show, and this time cannoned into the middle stump, and that is a huge wicket for Surrey. Durham have really struggled for runs so far in this competition. Aside from Susie Bates, I think it's only Bess Heath who's made it past 40 in the 3 games they've played so far. Holly Armitage is an incredibly experienced cricketer, has thousands of runs behind her, so not a bad option to be having in at number 3, but a great start for Surrey. It's just got even better.
Yeah, back in straight on the money there, Rhiannon McDonald-Gay. I think the key here for Durham is going to be playing with a little bit of patience. This wicket, there's no demons in it. They're just going to have to play strong, positive shots. If they can beat the ring, they're going to pick up full value for their shots here. I don't think it's going to be for them so much a forcing of scoring runs, but Surrey are bowling particularly tight at the moment, which does make run scoring difficult.
Again, McDonald-Gay just finding and hammering a length. Surrey's field is kind of wonderfully unimaginative at the moment. It's kind of when you're playing cricket, quick cricket in school, and you just have a ring and everyone rotates around the field one. You've got 4 fielders in the offside, kind of from point through to mid-off, 3 on the leg. It's a simple equation at the moment, bowling straight and forcing Durham to take a risk. That time, Armitage advances down the track as well. Takes the outside edge, and it's just 1 run. Well, Durham have made it to 10, and it's been a bit of an ordeal. So far, Surrey have been very strong with the ball.
Really strong with the ball, but even in the field, their movement, every delivery, they're around the batters. Every single fielder's wanting to go and collect the ball off of the keeper, make their presence known at the crease.
Excellent from run-out opportunity on at the wicket-keeper's end. Phoebe Franklin with the fielding at mid-wicket, taking us all, well, more to the point, me by surprise. Looked like Armitage just wanted to scamper through for a quick single, and it was comfortable enough in the end. I wonder whether the success of this opening 3 overs of seam will potentially see, we see more Phoebe Franklin than we have done in weeks gone by. There's loads of spin options for Surrey as well. That's the perfect result for Surrey. The one time that McDonald-Gay missed her length, she just dropped short and it's pulled out to that sweeper for 1. The score is 12 for 1 after 3.
Yeah, this is a really positive start here from Surrey. You can just hear a few claps coming from the crowd, appreciating how well Surrey are bowling in this early phase within the power play. So obviously just the 12 runs from it, run rate currently at 4 and over. Surrey, when batting first, have been putting on scores of around, well, averaging around 10 and over, so frequently scoring in and around the 200 mark. So if they can maintain this and keep Durham in and around the 120 to 140 mark, they'll be extremely happy with their bowling performance today.
Well, we have an early move to spin. So we've had 3 overs of seam bowling that have gone well, but Tilly Coleman is going to come into the attack from the pavilion end. Our 2 fielders out on the boundary at deep mid-wicket. Cover point. And there's that gap there. Coleman will be delighted with that. If you go, I've always enjoyed this kind of description of the 3 formats of cricket through kind of the view of the single. Whereas in first-class cricket, a single is a win for the batting team. In one-day cricket, it's a draw. And in T20, it's a win for the bowling team. Scamper through quickly. Danny Gregory just perched on the edge of the ring. Armitage home safely enough.
What do you think of a long one then?
A long one? As in, like, if the ball's like hit out to the boundary rider,
Yeah.
like the mental, where there's mental adjustment coming into play. Ooh. Because I thought, so for instance, would you just, that I wouldn't describe that as a long one.
In a one-day game, you could have run that as a long one.
Okay.
In a T20, they've run that first one hard, haven't they? Because if that fielder fumbles, they're looking for 2, or even in a one.
So what you're suggesting here is that if it's basically the 1.5, depending on, I guess, 1.5 in a T20, or then it's a win for the batting team because you have the potential for scoring 2. But I don't know. That's a fantastic shot, and that's a long 4. Maddie Villiers steps across her stumps, and she gets the ball on the full and is able to sweep the ball away for just the second boundary, I believe, of this innings. Durham needed to show some kind of proactiveness to get out of this mini slump that they're currently in, and Villiers provides.
Yeah, you're right. They did need to show some proactiveness, and Villiers being a little bit innovative there, just stepping right outside off stump just to capitalise behind square.
Run out chance at the non-striker's end. Appeal? No.
This seems to be characteristic of Holly Armitage. We saw the run out of Bess Heath at Guildford from some dodgy calling from Armitage then. So I think these Surrey fielders need to be very tight on these ones in the ring. There are definitely no long ones in the ring, and aware of some hesitation there. I don't think Villiers was too enamoured by having to run through. Fortunately, she wasn't running to the danger. Well, no, she was running to the danger.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so she could have been sold up the river by her captain, but you do obey captain's orders, so off she went.
Oh, good memory, because you are absolutely correct. 4 overs gone 20 for 1 at that T20 at Guildford. Durham, I think that was 3 run-outs, and it was a bit of a calamity of errors. McDonald Gay is going to continue. We also remembered at that Guildford T20 that you ran out. It was Claire Connor, of course. You said you never say no to the captain, and then explained that you do occasionally say no to the captain. Bowled! A second for McDonald Gay. In the exact same fashion, middle stump once again on the ground, and this start for Surrey just keeps improving. McDonald Gay has been gun barrel straight all afternoon, and she has a second wicket.
Yeah, that's a really pleasing delivery. I'm really happy here that McDonald Gay's found her line. She's been very inconsistent, and we're seeing now the Rhiannon McDonald Gay of 2024 here, demonstrating just how dangerous she can be with the ball. Can't help but feel a little bit for Maddie Villiers, having been sold up the river for that potential run out the ball before, and she wouldn't have been on strike and potentially wouldn't have been out. But yeah, doesn't miss the mark here. Again, it's just that pressure that Surrey are building, forcing Durham to play some shots that in other conditions they may not play. Bryony Smith just signals across to, I think it's Phoebe Franklin at mid-wicket, as though they knew that was going to happen. So some clear plans taking place here and coming to fruition.
Well, Durham having to force the issue against McDonald Gay, moving around in their crease. Well, have a look at that. That's a proper Sunday out, that. Seats to yourself, 20 for 2. Watching McDonald Gay smash some stumps. We'll see if she continues bowling dead straight to Emma Marlowe. Well, we don't have a speed gun here today, but having watched McDonald-Gay bowl a lot this year, my gut instinct is it feels like she's bowling faster today. She feels in a really good rhythm and is rushing batters in a way I haven't quite seen her do in earlier fixtures.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, I can't remember whether it was the England game that I was watching yesterday, and the commentators were talking about one of the West Indian bowlers, and I'll finish that after this delivery. Farrant fields at cover, sends it back into Kira Chatley. And they were talking about how they can see that she's probably got a few more yards in her. She's only 19, I can't remember which bowler it was. But wasn't bowling confidently and therefore not as quickly as she could be. And I don't think McDonald-Gay's been bowling with as much confidence as she has been, but today she's really got her tail up and she's really hitting the crease hard. And I agree with you, Cam. I think she's unfortunate there to...
It's just split the ring. We'll see if Harris is able to pull it in. She is indeed. And Surrey will be able to get back for 3. Farrant has sprinted after putting in the dive. Normally, if you do the dive, you don't then have to run after it. And Farrant's unfortunately had to do both the bad jobs there. But she does eventually save a run for her team. It's down on the scoreboard as a 2. They must have got back for 3. See the replay here. Sneaks through 2 fielders at cover. Harris puts in the legwork, and I don't know if the replay will run long enough, but we'll see Tash Farrant explode into view at some point. Oh. Well, that'll be 4 leg byes. Crucial runs for Durham. They'll take them any way they can.
Oh, it's given us runs off the bat, so just a little tickle. Keeper couldn't quite get a hand to it. Oh no, maybe I missed that. Apologies.
I think I saw umpire Dovey signal leg byes, and then
I must have missed it. Oh yeah, very clear, wasn't it? It's quite thick.
It also appears they only made 2 runs off that long chase, so 1 saved for Surrey there. And that's the end of the over. 5 down, 27 for 2.
Yeah, that was quick, and whether the deck's playing a little bit, or playing a little hand in how quick McDonald-Gay is bowling. When Surrey faced Durham last time out at Guildford, they had Lauren Filer in their ranks, and if she was available today, I think she'd be licking her lips at this deck. But unfortunately, she's away on England duties for Durham. As Tash Farrant comes in to the attack again to bowl her 3rd from the pavilion end. Slight change in the field here, so that deep backward point has come up and you have a deep cover and a deep square just in front.
Starts with a dot. Wonder if, well, in your experience with playing with Farrant and kind of imagine you might have played a little bit of Alexa Stonehouse. Surrey and South East Stars were quite unusual in having 2 left armers. Is the kind of traditional plan that they start over the wicket to try and swing the ball back into the right-hander, and then when that seam swing disappears a little bit, they'll hop over to round the wicket?
Yeah, and that happens a lot in one-day cricket as well.
Take 1 run through to Schofield at mid-on, and just on that point, that was Holly Armitage calling that again, and Schofield felt in the game there. She had a shot at the stumps, missed, but threw her hands up in the air, and you can see her kind of grimacing on screen there, thinking that if she'd hit, might have been an opportunity for a run out.
Yeah, and I think that's a signature of how Holly Armitage tends to start her innings. Is she'll drop and run quite a lot, and she'll look to accumulate quickly, which obviously can be dangerous if your partner's not really aware that that's how you go about your game.
Schofield almost in the game once more. That ball chipped towards her. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so going back to having 2 left armers, I've played a fair bit with Alexa Stonehouse as well, and so the left armers at the moment, they must be quite happy with the line that she's bowling and the fact that there's a little bit of movement in the pitch and in the air as well. So in that middle period when all 4 fielders would be out, the left armour would like to change the angle into the right-handed batter, and then they'll go and use lots of their variations. So Farrant particularly has lots of variations. That's
out. Well held by Schofield. It's almost on an ice rink after she completes the catch. Marlowe chipping the ball to mid-on. We were waiting to see if it was just going to loop over the fielder. Bryony Smith taking the mickey, we'll say, out of her teammate Paige Schofield there. But she's able to hold on to a catch. And Farrant has her first wicket of the day.
Yeah, Durham still just trying to force runs here, and I'm just not sure that with the pressure that Surrey are piling on here, that is the way forward.
We'll see the replay here, and we'll have a look at Schofield's nimble footwork, we'll call it. Just a little juggle as well. She almost hits the deck. In the end, it is a wicket, it's well held. Farrant's on the board.
Yeah, I was trying to watch Farrant's hand there because I couldn't tell. I think it came a little bit slower out of the hand. I couldn't tell if it was a cutter that she's bowled and it's just held in the surface. Because initially, when we saw Marlowe play that shot, I actually thought that it had cleared the ring. I thought that she'd got full value for her shot, and actually it seemed more of a leading edge and a bit of a chip. So maybe there is a little bit of something in the pitch, just offering Surrey some support with the ball.
Bess Heath, England wicketkeeper, on strike. Me and Georgie Heath were commentating on Surrey's game against Hampshire a couple of days ago, and we're convinced there's some sort of magnification issue with the glass here, because we got every single just plinked over the ring wrong. When we thought it'd just gone up in the air, it sailed for six, and then vice versa. Well, we were doing a very bad job at kind of describing what was happening in the game, so we kept on getting it wrong. This is an excellent over from Farrant. I believe that was a bit of a crowd catch, or a Kirstie White catch.
Yeah, hands went up there, sorry.
6 overs gone, the power play is finished, and it definitely has belonged to Surrey. Durham 29 for 3. And it looks like Danny Gregory, the leg spinner, is now going to come into the attack.
One thing that's particularly impressed me about this Surrey performance this morning so far is they actually got back from Lancashire at 11:30 last night. So they returned, they got back to the Oval here on the coach about 10:30, and a lot of the girls, so Callie Moore, Alexa Stonehouse, live fairly far away from the Oval as well, so they stayed locally. So, they were stuck on a coach for about 6 or 7 hours before getting home, and they look fresh and ready to go today. So testament to their recovery on that bus and their attitudes to the sport.
Well, Gregory just missing her line first up. She struggled against Hampshire. It was a cold, miserable day, and for a wrist spinner, the ball just seemed to be getting a bit stuck in her hand. She starts with a few drag downs. She'll be hoping to find her length better today. Now, it is remarkable, the kind of relentless nature of the Blast, where teams do play these back-to-back matches. And so Surrey were up in Manchester. They've got back at, late in the evening. People have then got to get home from that point. Durham were playing down at Arundel yesterday, so they're having kind of the southern, making a southern weekend of it. The games come thick and fast. That could be 4. Gregory just losing her line again. And it beats the fielder. Callie Moore on the boundary's edge. She's an excellent fielder. She's done herself a bit of a mischief there. Maybe her arms rolled over the boundary rope.
Yeah, I never fielded on the boundary. I was always in the ring, but on the odd occasion that I did make a trip out to the boundary, diving over the rope is one of the most painful things, particularly if the ball goes for 4, but that's a fantastic effort and commitment from Callie to try and save the boundary.
Looks like Bess Heath is going to take a long one out to the fielder. Danni Wyatt Hodge out at deep point.
I saw Bess Heath this morning having a coffee.
Yeah?
Yeah. I popped into Vauxhall just to pick up a coffee on the way into the ground, and she was in our local coffee shop. I think she must have been with family or friends, just enjoying a little coffee before the game.
Short again. So we pull just out to the sweeper on the boundary. Which coffee shop should you go for in Vauxhall? Because I always this is really going to be only relevant. Actually, you know what? We're commentating on a Surrey game. A lot of people live in South London. What's your coffee shop of choice, Vauxhall?
Well, this morning I just wanted a quick takeaway, so I went to Urban Botanica.
Lovely.
Very nice shop. I didn't buy a plant this time, usually do.
So hang on. I don't know this place. I responded as if I knew it, and then you went, I didn't buy a plant this time. So this is a coffee and plant-based shop.
Yeah, so if you come out of the Oval station and you walk straight up the Kennington Road, and then, I don't really know where, but there's a Pizza Express in and around there. Gregory going to bowl. Lovely line there. A little bit of hesitation. These two have got history for run-outs together, so just keep an eye on their communication in the middle. Surrey will be well aware of this.
Well, 7 overs gone. Gregory's first over goes for 9. The score's 38 for 3. I'm looking it up on the map, Urban Botanica. I'm familiar with it. It's kind of Kennington Way.
Yeah, that's right.
Tube Way. And so you get your plants. And
so lovely house plants, and they've nice aesthetic in there. I got a takeaway today.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting down and I want a breakfast, so
you buy a house plant if you sit in.
Well, sometimes, but just around the corner from there, literally about 50 yards, is Vanilla Black. That does a lovely breakfast as well. Highly recommend.
I'm not sure the house plant and coffee shop was ever a gap in the market.
Oh, they've seen plenty of my money.
Liam Moore comes into the attack. That's a wonderful shot from Bess Heath. A little bit of width on offer from Moore, and she lifts the ball over cover for 4 runs. And while on the one hand, Moore will be disappointed to start her spell with a boundary, sometimes you have to applaud the opposition. Hopefully we'll see a replay on this occasion.
Yeah, that's a really nice shot from Bess Heath over extra cover. Much better line there from Callia Moore.
He might be able to get 2 here. She did find that gap, and Armitage does make it back in time.
Drops her bat en route.
Oh, well spotted. I didn't realise that.
I thought it was a glove, and then I thought it's more likely to be a bat. It's not Marizanne Cat batting in the middle. He takes her gloves off between every ball.
I've always been surprised when players do that, because I think it surely makes you slower.
Yeah, it's just a lot of faff, isn't it?
Well, that's just been lifted over the ring. Instead, they're able to get back for 2.
Some excellent running here by Holly Armitage. She's really pushing these ring fielders. Realistically, there shouldn't have been 2 there, but she was so quick off the mark for that 1. In and out with the bat. That's a real lesson on how to turn from the batter's point of view to pick up a very quick 2.
This time it should just be 1 out to Phoebe Franklin. So yeah, I'm actually quite disappointed because I come to the Oval from the other direction, and I'm often in search of I just like the idea of finishing my commute into the Oval with like a little 10-15 minute walk with a coffee, and there's nowhere in that radius to suit me.
I can give you one place. Oh, that's really nice use of the feet there from Armitage. She just looks like she's starting to find something here. As she just shimmies down the pitch and drives out to cover. There's a beautifully guided shot out to cover. There is actually a coffee shop inside a workspace.
Oh, yeah.
That you can go into and pick up a coffee en route. Oh.
Just over Harris. The way that travelled, I almost wondered whether it had been hit into the ground, but it travelled too far for that, surely. Nevertheless, Moore's first over comes to an end. 12 runs off it. The 50 comes up for Durham after their 8 overs. And combined with that previous Danni Gregory over, nope, that was clean. That was just lifted over the ring. 21 off the last 2, and Durham are just starting to find their rhythm here. But most importantly, can you please tell me where I can get a coffee when I next come into the ground? I think that's what people are most intrigued about.
Yeah, bear with. I need to look on my map because I can never remember the name.
Danni Gregory is going to continue. She still has lots of protection on that leg side boundary. Deep backward square leg, deep mid-wicket. and a long on in pace. Paige Schofield at long on, as she so often is. She's one of Surrey's best fielders. Now, Durham have dropped that into the leg side, and they will be able to get back for 2 here. As Kirstie alluded to at the start of today's play, the straight boundaries are very short, but the square boundaries are massive. Imagine they're kind of, well, 70 yards or so, because you picture the 25-yard circle, double it, and there's more than enough space to go again. Maybe 1 more to the total. And Durham just finding a foothold in this match here. This pair, and Bess Heath in particular, provided some real impetus into their innings.
Yeah, Bess Heath certainly looking the more comfortable of the 2. Holly Armitage taking her time. She's striking at under 100 at the moment, but is running with real intent here. So, sorry, just need to be aware of where this partnership could go. Again, this is a really important partnership here for Durham. They haven't got the depth in batting that Surrey do have. So these 2 really have a strong role to play here in putting some runs on the board for Durham.
Feels like there's a little holding pattern being entered here. Durham can take as many singles as they want to the leg side, which they continue to do so. And it is the kind of catch-22 for Surrey here, is that, yes, Durham don't have an enormous amount of batting depth, so do take a risk here and try and open up an end and dismiss one of these 2 of the more experienced players, or you're quite happy to kind of shake hands at going at 6 runs and over for a little period. That's short, but Gregory gets away with it on this occasion, just the 1 run.
Yeah, and there is always a danger of, you know, OK, we're happy to concede 1s on the leg side, that's fine, we're bowling to our field, but at a certain point, the batters become really, really comfortable with that, and you're almost playing them in to then be able to score boundaries so freely. So that there is a real balance between how comfortable Surrey are to continue conceding these singles, and also wanting to put pressure on the batters and keep picking up wickets.
Well, Gregory's second over comes to an end. 7 runs off it. Every ball, well, no dot balls in that over. How's the best way to say that? On every ball there was a run scored, something like that. 57 for 3. See some of the lads in. That looks like they've got some caps for a special occasion.
Do you know what? I absolutely love this. This is a women's standalone game, and that is a huge group of men coming in to watch the women's game today. I'm really, really happy to see that.
Progress.
Take my hat off.
Men can get drunk everywhere and anywhere.
Welfare, yes, absolutely.
Well,
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 2:30 on a Sunday. The guys are in. Courtine Coleman's having a bowl. The consecutive deliveries scored off continues. Did you ever find that coffee shop?
I didn't. Oh. I might have to delve deep into the archives, and I was finding myself becoming a little bit too distracted, and had to remind myself why I was here.
Cameron and Kirstie's TripAdvisor experience. That's what we call the Surrey live stream.
Yeah, I'll have to consult my coffee Instagram page. There's clear intent here from Durham. They're really not too interested in boundaries, and Surrey have been quite quick to notice this here. Very fast off the boundary, Paige Schofield, knowing that they're turning to look for 2 here. So Durham may have to think of another plan if they want to accumulate more than 1 a ball.
Well, that time Armitage does look to manufacture more than 1 run a ball.
That was an outrageous dive by Tash Farron, who was absolutely nowhere near that ball, and threw in a circus dive just to...
Commitment.
Yeah, maybe just to make the bowler know that she will give everything that she's got, even if she's nowhere near the ball.
It's a lovely shot from Heath. Just for that delivery, the field was changed, and the fielder... chance for an overthrow here. They're going to sneak home. I don't actually think that was that scrappy from Surrey there. It's just come off the inside half of Kira Chatley's calf, almost nutmegged her, and as a result, Danny Gregory had been on the move because the field had been changing for a different batter, As a result, it allowed Durham to pinch another run. So, well, good alert batting from Durham. Go for the reverse. Run outs at the non-strikers end. Well, a lot of things are happening here at the Kia Oval.
It's becoming a bit chaotic and a bit frenetic, isn't it? Yeah, I do disagree with you, however. I do think that throw from Callian Moore and the throws in general from the boundary haven't been as high a standard as I would expect from Surrey.
That could be four. It just finds a little pocket of the ground. Absolutely not, says both Kirstie and Phoebe Franklin. 2 runs added to the total.
Yeah, I just feel that, you know, the throws into the keeper are so important and they have such high standards of themselves that they'll probably reflect and say we haven't got the ball into the keeper the way that we would have liked to. You know, if you're sending it in on the bounce, it shouldn't be bouncing 5-6 yards in front of the keeper, because that's where things like that ball deflecting off of the inside of Kira Chatley's thigh come into play. But, you know, these are the 1%ers that have got Surrey over the line time after time this season. So into the attack now, we're seeing Phoebe Franklin.
Well, I've got a stat for you.
Oh, I love a stat.
What's the best way to phrase this? There's been 18 consecutive deliveries where a run has been scored. So there hasn't been a dot ball since the last ball of the 7th over. I believe that's right. Phoebe Franklin, who bowled a maiden a couple of days ago, she comes into the attack. And that's more runs. That will skip away over the square. Be 4 more, and Durham are just slowly building an innings here. Well, I say Durham, our Bess Heath's going about it at a canter. She moves on to 27 off 16. She's been accessing that cover region, well, accessing over cover throughout this innings.
Yeah, that was a really well played shot there by Bess Heath. You know, the tiniest bit of width, and she's bang on top of it. So really well played there.
She's hit that firmly into the midriff of Tash Farron, who exhales. But job done. It's a dot ball. No runs scored.
Yeah, going back to Phoebe's maiden, the incident between her and Georgia Adams has caused a bit of a stir among the Surrey members. I'd like to pick your brains around this.
That's lofted. That should be caught. Smith holds on. There was a moment of confusion between Harris and Smith, but Smith called loudly. Harris backed away, and Smith takes a sharp catch. A smart catch, I'd describe it as, actually, over to her left. And Heath, who had been batting ever so well, has to go for 27. Durham a 69 for 4.
Yeah, really well held by Bryony Smith there. That was a kind of one of those spinny ones, and this team practiced this a lot. So Johan Myberg, before the game, he'll have his tennis racket out and he's taped up an Incrediball, and he'll slice them up as high as he can in the air for you to practice those exact catches, because that's spinning away from her, and she's kind of putting her arms out, so it's outside of the eye line. Great catch there from Bryony Smith on the move.
That sounds like a horrible fielding drill.
Oh, but it's so valuable. I can't explain. You know, the number of catches this team will take like that because they practice it every training session before a game. It's big slices, and what he'll do as well is he'll send them over your head, so you'll stand right next to him, and he'll slice it up and send you backwards to go and catch it over your shoulder. So not only is there the element of, you know, you're running and it's gone over your head, but it's spinning as well. So
that's horrible. Why the tape? Because the tape sounds to me sharp.
Yeah. Not always tapes, but the Incredibles, because they're so light, they kind of float around as well.
Right. We have Rogers in at the crease. It's just sliding down leg side. They do come through for 1. Holly Armitage, again, alert to a quick run. So the incident between Phoebe Franklin and Georgia Adams. So what was this? You were at Explain, a Surrey members event before coming on air today. Yeah.
So there was a kind of a panel, a lunch with was around 60 Surrey members, just going through kind of the women's game and all of these things. But before the game, there were lots of people talking about that. That's really well bowled there by Phoebe Franklin, right up on the toes of Holly Armitage. No chance of scoring a run there. Of this, I didn't see it myself, but of this altercation between Phoebe and Georgia Adams, and why why it was allowed to happen. So I wasn't there. Can you talk me through it? What happened?
I can do my best. How can I do this without libeling anyone? It's well struck into the leg side by Armitage, but it will just be 1 run. All being well, that should bring the 11th over to a close. It's 71 for 4. So, Adams struck the ball in the air, kind of sliced it up. And it was a course and bowled opportunity for Phoebe Franklin on the one pitch over. Kind of imagine if you were bowling round the wicket and you took one big step to your right. That's where the ball was dropping. And Adams, basically, I think, intelligently, I love kind of bits of skullduggery. And you see her just slightly like curving a run or running close enough to Phoebe Franklin for Phoebe Franklin to know she's there, but crucially not close enough to be like definitively obstructing the field. Franklin held on. Oh, did she hold on? I can't remember now. I'm going to need to look that up and see if she does hold on to it. No, she didn't. She dropped it. Well, we've got more back into the attack. Armitage looks to heave that into the leg side.
Yeah, Armitage here. Armitage is going to have to take on this aggressor role now that Bess Heath had begun to show signs of. So coming down the wicket, Callie Moore taking stumping with her very first delivery of the game yesterday. So she is capable of turning the ball past the bat, something to be wary of as a batter.
We're just going to push the fielders hard in the deep. They're thinking about 2, they agree to it, and they get home safely. So no, Phoebe Franklin did put the catch down, and that was just kind of... She was never touched or directly impeded by Adams, but it struck me as the act of a wise and knowing player.
So gamesmanship, one might say.
Gamesmanship. I got very scared on the stream in live time because I went, I don't know how to describe this without insinuating foul play.
So for all those A-level PE students, when they're talking between sportsmanship and gamesmanship. Oh.
Well, for a moment, Bryony Smith was in the game there for a diving catch. But as it happens, the ball beat her, and Rogers has 4 runs. And Durham are ticking along here, just under 7 runs and over. Imagine if they can get up to that one, around about a 150 total. They'll feel in the game. That should be 4 more, unless the fielder out on the boundary is going to have to be quick. And that's fantastic fielding. Looks like Tash Farrant out in the deep. He was just practicing her diving earlier on, and this time to good effect.
I don't really think she's supposed to be out there. But you're not going to keep Tash Farrant away from the boundary, are you? And for reasons like that.
She's dropped that in between everyone. Are they looking for 2? Kalia Moore's done really well there, because although she hasn't ended up fielding the ball, her sprinting after it has put something in the mind of the Durham fielders, Durham batters even. They might not be able to make it back. That over, an eventful one, comes to an end. 12 overs gone, 81 for 4. We'll see who's going to have a bowl from the Vauxhall end. It's Danni Gregory having lots of bowling changes here in this T20, which we've seen throughout the year, both across the County Cup and in the Blast. We'll see Holly Armitage make roughly 17 bowling changes is my prediction. She's such a proactive captain. Danni Gregory back into the attack. Her 2 overs so far have gone for 16.
We haven't seen Grace Harris yet.
That's short again. Gregory gets away with it again this time. 2 runs scored, but not a boundary. I wonder if Harris is kind of on a bowl when you need me type of deal.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would have definitely bowled her on Thursday, having scored 64 runs. I'd have just been, absolutely, you can open the bowling if you want to.
Do everything, please. Short again. But once again, the pull shot just finds the fielder. We're once again seeing, well, Gregory's for the most part being struck into the leg side, but we're seeing this deep extra cover position in place, which I first saw this year when Surrey played Durham at Guildford, and just as we talk about it, she moves her. Danni Wyatt-Hodge has to move over to kind of a more traditional deep cover point. And it's been so fashionable this season across all the teams. It's something I hadn't seen before this year. Maybe that's my own naivety at play. That's a wide given. Ball's bounced off Chatley's pads, I believe. Yep, umpire Dovey confirms it's a wide, so that'll be 2 runs to the total. Was this a position that was used a lot in your playing days? I say your playing days, it was only last year.
Actually, the field of fielding in this position is it would be a classic field for her, because Danni Wyatt-Hodge, as we know. Oh.
I think that's a missed stumping opportunity and a bye, just to add insults to injury. Mixing my metaphors.
Yeah, so Danni Wyatt-Hodge, we know she's so strong over extra cover, so quite common to actually have a deep extra cover there. But we've seen it a lot through the Surrey team so far this season, and I like it. I think it's a really positive move. I do think it puts pressure on bowlers, because it means that they still have to continue to bowl straight. So you don't have the cushion of, if I do throw my line a little bit outside the off stump, then I've got my sweeper on the cover boundary. But this is for that coming down the wicket and driving down the ground.
That's hit straight. 1 bounce, 2, 3, and over the fence. And it's an expensive over from Gregory. This time a boundary added to the total.
Yeah, and there's also the decision that you've got to make here of, do I keep my mid-off up and have 3 out on the offside and then my deep extra cover, or do I have a long off? Are my bowlers consistent enough to be able to hit those lines regularly in order for me to comfortably have that deep extra cover and it be effective with what I'm trying to do with my plans?
13 overs gone, 92 for 4. I find that really interesting because I guess one of my interpretations there is that previously you'd have your fielder potentially at kind of a deep cover point, out squarer, so protecting, in effect, a bad delivery, as it were. But by having deep extra cover, you're effectively saying, I won't bowl that bad delivery, I'll stay straight and I'll have protection, because now the game's changed as such that players are hitting good balls in areas where they'd potentially previously wait for bad ball and to capitalise. And so with that field where you have deep extra cover out, you're protecting your good delivery from being hit off a length. Well, Kirstie Coleman is back into the attack. She has a more conventional field. She has long off outs and a kind of ring of fielders in the offside.
And you'll see here, Kirstie Coleman has actually gone for the more conventional long off, long on, deep extra cover and deep backward square, not massively backward of, for the left arm round. Oof. Some acrobatics there from Mia Rogers to get out of the way of that delivery. That shot there from Holly Armitage, who's driven straight down the ground. Good start here from Kirstie Coleman, just the 1 run from the 2 deliveries. Some tight ring fielding here by Surrey. What I was also going to say to you, Cam, was that actually with that deep extra cover, what it does do is it signposts to the batter that the bowler's going to bowl full and straight. So if you want to score runs through that offside boundary, you either have to jump and sit really deep in your crease and create. That's a really well played shot, she says. Oh.
Well, that's spectacular. I'll describe that as unnecessarily spectacular fielding, Paige Schofield.
She's run past it.
She's run past it and then dived back. It's reminded me of the David Seaman save against Sheffield United in the FA Cup. If anyone wants to go back and watch that, one of the great saves. And we'll watch Schofield sprint past the ball as it plugs and fly back in the opposite direction. Tilly Kirstie Coleman puts in a dive as well. It's one of my earliest sporting memories. That's why it's so burned into my brain, watching the kind of football as a kid and seeing David Seaman make this save and discovering years to come it goes down in history as like one of the best ever. Well, that will be a boundary. Has it gone all the way? We're waiting for the umpire's signal. No. The 1 bounce over the boundary.
That's a shame. That's a good finish to the over for Durham there, where Surrey had completely dominated, but that's a cracking shot from Holly Armitage. Meets it at the pitch, one bounce, gun barrel straight back over the bowler's head.
As you said, it's a crucial boundary because just 3 runs had been scored at that point.
Apologies, that was Mia Rogers, not Holly Armitage, that scored that.
Mia Rogers has been going very well in her brief stay at the crease. 22 of 15, playing a fine hand. Durham on 99 for 4 after 14 overs.
Yeah, so go back to that, and that just to continue with that deep extra cover discussion again. So Phoebe Franklin, change of bowler, is continuing with this deep extra cover.
Franklin back into the attack. All bowling changes are, of course, powered by SSE Energy Solutions. That's the Durham 100 up in the 15th over. 14.1 overs bowled, a run rate of just a tick over 7.
And the change here, so we've now got a long off instead of a deep extra cover for Mia Rogers. We've seen her play strongly down the ground, so Surrey have just adapted there.
Well, despite the fielder being in place, she still targets that area. White Hodge does well to keep it to a single.
Yeah, and Phoebe Franklin is actually one of those bowlers who, if you get into the right mindset, you can actually play her like a spinner. Particularly at this stage of the game where she'll bowl lots of different cutters and lots of different variations. If you're set up to play her like a spinner, you'll be far more successful.
How do you mean play her like a spinner?
So use your crease, so either get deep in your crease and slash her back on the back foot, or come and meet the ball. I think she's also someone that actually, if you are a sweeper, you can sweep. And everyone knows how much seamers don't like to be swept.
Long on in play, just falls short of Schofield.
She has picked up a yard of pace, so I'm definitely not kind of taking away from her ability to bowl those seam deliveries, but it's more of a mindset, because she can be a really tricky bowler to get away if you're not clear on how to play her type of bowling. Because it floats out of the hand. I don't know if you can see.
Scamper through for a single. Once again, Holly Armitage forcing the issue, kind of ordering her troops to get running. I see what you mean, because imagine with Franklin, she does absolutely have enough pace where it can be used against her if players were to kind of paddle sweep, for instance.
And she almost holds in the surface, she almost grips in it, so it almost...
Well, more good running from Durham as they add 2 to the total. That brings to an end a good over for Surrey. Just 6 runs off that Franklin over. She has very fine figures of 1 for 11 off her 2 overs so far. 15 overs gone, 105 for 4.
Yeah, this is a good position for Surrey to be in here. They'll be happy with the run rate as it is, 7 and over. I think anything, like I said, Durham, if they can keep Durham between 130, 140. I think they really need to kick on here and put more than that on the board if they think they can defend. I know Durham will probably be thinking we probably need more like 170, 180 to defend here. So as Tash Farrant comes into the attack, it will be interesting to see how these two play her.
Well, Farrant coming round the wicket now. One of those change-ups immediately from Farrant.
Not very happy with that being sent back in as quickly as it was, particularly after that blow to the wrist on Thursday.
Well, Armitage was looking for a single, which prompted the throw at the non-striker's end. Farrant did take a blow to the wrist on the final ball of her spell a couple of days ago, and it briefly looked quite serious. We were being very kind of measured in the commentary box. Pulled out to the boundary. Could the fielder be in play? No. Well fielded in the deep, and it will allow for 2, or will it? Just the 1 run. That's superb fielding in the deep. Can't quite make out who it is from here.
I think it was Danni Wyatt Hodge, actually.
Excellent work from Danni Wyatt Hodge, teaming up with Paige Schofield, who threw the ball in. Farrant coming into the attack is, of course, a bowling change powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Armitage coming all the way across her stumps. No, me and Georgie Heath were kind of using our gravest voices and going, oh goodness me, it doesn't look good for Farrant here. And Bryony Smith was gesturing for a substitution. And 2 seconds later, we saw Farrant was still on the pitch. And we went, okay, it's all fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, I spoke to her yesterday. She said, I don't really know why. I thought I'd go off. And I was like, I'm absolutely fine. I'm staying on. She said, I was just a bit tired. This is a really, really good over here from Farrant. I don't think we've seen anything but change-ups here, which is excellent bowling from her as well. You just don't really know what she's going to bowl. She's got a big bag of tricks there, so...
It's exactly what you referred to earlier on in the innings. When the ball was swinging, she was coming over the wicket. Now the ball stopped swinging, she's round the wicket and using her change-ups. That's a big slur ball as well, really looping out of the hand. Only 1 run able to be taken. 5 balls gone, just 2 runs scored so far. Farrant and Holly Armitage having a bit of a laugh and a giggle with one another.
I tell you what, for someone who's only playing their 2nd game this season to be bowling their, I think this is her 4th over actually.
Lofted straight, Schofield underneath it, out. A 2nd wicket for Farrant, a 5th for Surrey, and a superb over is rewarded with a wicket off the final ball. Farrant 2 for 9 now off her 3 overs. She's been excellent for Surrey, and Surrey's strong position gets that bit better.
Yeah, so this is only her 2nd game of the season, so she's obviously had a really tough time of injuries coming into the season, so and she's quite limited in how much she's bowling in training, so to come in and put in a bowling performance like this in her 2nd game, she'll be absolutely buzzing.
Next in for Durham, number 70, Catherine Fraser.
Well, Catherine Fraser is going to come into the attack. Into the attack? Well, I guess she is coming into the attack to an extent. She's coming into
the batting attack.
The batting attack. 5 down now, Durham. And after those few productive overs between Bess Heath and Holly Armitage against the Surrey spinners of Gregory and Moore, Franklin and Farrant have really been able to apply the handbrake once again.
Yeah, it's a nice change to see here for Surrey actually, because spin had been so frequently the go-to to pick up wickets in these middle overs here, but actually to see seam having that effect is really nice and showing just how much of an impact Tash Farrant has on this team when she's back in and around it, bowling in partnerships particularly.
Franklin fielding off her own bowling. If you combine McDonald Gay and Farrant's figures today, they bowled 6 overs, 4 for 19. That's handy in any context and in any match.
I think it's long overdue as well. I think if this is now Surrey hitting their stride with their bowling, imagine what they're doing with their batting. So their batting, there's been no dispute about the runs they've been scoring, but there have been questions over the consistency of the bowling.
Durham will look for 2.
Fraser sets off very quickly there. Should have run along 1. It's wasted a lot of energy.
Do you know, I hate this phrase really deeply, but I'm going to use it anyway.
I feel like I know what you're going to say, but go on, say it.
When people refer to icks, cricketing icks.
Yep.
Well, I've got 1. And it's when batters hit the ball out to a sweeper and they walk a single and then realise they've misjudged it and then have to do a little jog at the end.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Because it's arrogance. it's arrogance to begin with, and then it turns into just embarrassment, and they're just kind of like, oh no, I'm actually going to have to run.
Similar to when you think it's gone for 4 and it's not, and then you've run a 1 and now have to run a 2.
Very much. Just run like a normal human. It's fine.
Oh dear. I thought you were going to say something along the lines of run the first one hard.
I do often think that's wrong as well, because it's like, well, why don't we just conserve our energy? I've realised I'm arguing both sides of the coin.
Yeah,
now.
you are, yeah.
Walk it.
Oh.
Ouch. Franklin sticks out a boot. I don't think she's even saved a run there, to be honest.
No.
But it's worth it for the effort anyway.
Maybe lost a toe. Maybe taking a little bit of something out of the ball. Let's see what she might have done there. These bowlers are sneaky.
you see those remarkable quotes from Bryden Cast, who's had a horrific toe injury for years now, by the sounds of it, or at least months. Dot ball.
Nice glove work from Kira Chatley.
To finish the 17th over. 17 overs gone. The score's 112 for 5. Basically, he's got this like horrible cut on the second toe of his bowling foot, as it were. And they were considering amputation because it was basically just a case of like, this is such a pain.
Never wear flip-flops.
Good point. Really good point. The main concern in Bryden Cast's mind. And there was a while, and there's this quote where he goes like, I was lying in bed thinking about it. He's like, you know what? Let's just get rid of it. And the doctor went, you can't do that. Your balance will be all over the shop. He's like, okay. Yeah. I've spoken to a few people who've seen said toe. They say it's absolutely disgusting. Right. Bowling change, powered by SSE Energy Solutions. Rhiannon McDonald-Gay replaces Farrant. Bowled the single over from the pavilion end. Armitage goes for the scoop. Ball's kind of gone absolutely nowhere in the end. Wait for the signal to see if it was a leg by. Nigel Long thinks about it, approves, sticks one leg out for a little tap.
Yeah, I don't think bowlers are particularly well known for having nice feet. I know some of these girls, the fast bowlers, their toes are, you don't want to be looking at them.
No good.
Regularly lose toenails.
Oh, swing and a miss. They think about the phrase "have just got a tickle on it." I think I might have told you this earlier on in the season, but I remember, I think it was Rory Burns shared a photo of his calf at the end of a season, kind of the front or his shin more to the point, after a season of fielding on the square at the Oval.
Oh yes,
It was torn to pieces, and I didn't like it at all. What cheery topics of conversation we bring to you. McDonald-Gay. Should just be one run out to the cover point sweeper. It's been a really good last 3 or 4 overs from Surrey. The seamers have just really dominated proceedings. Economy rates for the seamers. McDonald-Gay just over 3 and over. Tash Farrant exactly 3 and over. Phoebe Franklin going at 5s, and all the spinners going at 7.5s, 8.5s and 11s respectively.
Oh.
Struck firmly down the ground. That should be 4, and it is. A wonderful shot by Armitage, who walks down at McDonald-Gay, forced the issue, and almost front foot pulled it straight down the ground.
She's clubbed that really, hasn't she? It's just a real punch there off that front foot. Excellent effort from Schofield, but there was only ever going to be 4. I think what's been so great for me with this Surrey bowling performance today is that skipper Bryony Smith hasn't really had to do anything. So, I mean, in terms of how she goes about her captaincy, this team is so experienced and know their game so well that in terms of what she's doing and how much she needs to do out there in terms of moving people around is very little. But when your bowlers are executing the way that they should be and are today, it makes her job so easy.
Durham will think about a second, but ultimately decide against it. Armitage on 37, 18 overs gone, 119 for 5. McDonald-Gay's very fine spell of bowling comes to an end. 2 for 16 off her 4 overs. Crucially, one of those 2 wickets was Susie Bates, clean bowled for just 5. She really set up this innings to become what it is currently. We'll see. Well, who will bowl the final 2 overs? It looks like Tash Farrant is going to bowl her 4th. Well, no, she's just going to walk the ball over to Phoebe Franklin and bowl her 4th. And I imagine Farrant will finish up from the pavilion end.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Cam. I'm sure she will probably have the final over. It's been a really dominant performance with the ball here by the seamers today, and the spinners, but particularly a day for the seamers.
Well, Durham still have a score on the board here, and 2 strong final overs will lift them up towards 140. Of course, Surrey went so well here against Hampshire. I'm just going to grab the scorecard so I can give you the numbers properly. They made 213 for 4 on this same wicket, which was fresher at the time. Half centuries for White, Hodge and Harris. It's pulls out into the deep, should just be one bounce and fielded. Paige Schofield, 49 not out of just 18 deliveries. I would imagine this would be a lower scoring day just because the boundaries are that much bigger. They're really kind of bizarrely small sides to the ground against Hampshire, which Surrey capitalised on.
Yeah, when Surrey took the wicket of Maya Bouchier on, was it the first over they took that wicket?
It was indeed, the last ball of the first over.
I felt as though that was a clear plan. That was the larger boundary, the larger side of the ground, and they knew that she was a potential candidate. They know that Maya Bouchier can clear ropes, and they targeted that long boundary for that wicket there. And I just felt you could see the reaction from the girls after they took that wicket, that was a clear plan. They knew that was how they were going to get Bouch out. So actually just giving a little bit of flight and saying, yeah, go on, try and clear those ropes. And actually it came to fruition. I mean, it was a low full toss. How often do they take wickets? But
I was a very gentle off spinner myself. I quite like this plan of making the leg side boundary as big as possible. Calling it tactical genius, asking, they've hit it 80 yards again and they're out. Amazing. Another very good over from Franklin here, just 4 runs scored off it, 1 ball remaining. Durham just on 123 with 7 balls to go. It's lifted straight. Schofield once again does the fielding. They're coming back for 2. Appeal for run out. No dice, says umpire Dovey. Well dived home by Catherine Fraser. 19 overs gone, 125 for 5.
I've really loved the intent with the running here from Durham, and I would imagine, with the stat that you pulled up around how many dot balls there were in that passage of the game, some of their batting KPIs would be along the lines of how many dot balls that they're prepared to face in an innings, and that would probably play a big part in it. So the final over of the Surrey bowling innings is going to be bowled by Tash Farron. Great call from ourselves, Cam.
We're just natural captains.
We are, yes.
There was also one bowler who had 1 over to go and had 2 for 9 of 3. Right, the last over of Durham's innings. Fraser on strike. Field is scattered on the leg side boundary. Ready and waiting. Sticks out of hand, I think wisely misses it. Just 1 run added to the total.
I think what will be great to look at in the last delivery when the innings concludes is the way that Surrey carry themselves off the pitch, because I think they'll be heads and shoulders above the Durham batters for sure.
Well, Armitage started batting on off stump, moved across even further. They should get back for 2. It's a large part of the ground, and they do. There's a real challenge for Armitage and Durham to decide what to do here. As we've mentioned, that leg side boundary is really large. And so Durham either have the choice of getting across to off stump and trying to heave the ball kind of 80 yards, or giving themselves space and trying to chip over the offside. That will be 4. Really clean connection from Armitage, finds the gap. She moves on to 47. First boundary, well, the second boundary that Farron's conceded off her spell. See Armitage going for option A, as it were, walking across her stumps and hammering the ball into the leg side.
Yeah, she hasn't found the middle too often today, but that certainly came out the meat of the bat, and White Hodge thought, I've got no chance of stopping that, so I'm going to save myself a burn and go and gather that from behind the boundary.
High. Will a fielder get underneath it? No. It will land safely. Opportunity of a run out, but it ends up just being 2. Cameron looks dismayed.
It was in the air for so long that they've managed to run a 2. Dear.
Well, a good last over here for Durham. 9 runs off it. Armitage on 49. Be her first 50 of the season in the T20 Blast. If she does manage to score one more run of these last 2 deliveries.
Oh, I can imagine Tash is thinking just bowl 2 dots here. That would be great.
Well,
leg by.
We'll wait for the umpire's signal. But that might be a leg by. No.
Oh.
Runs for Holly Armitage and a 50 for the Durham skipper. Raises her bats to her teammates over in the dugout on the far side of the ground.
Yeah, well batted, Holly Armitage. She certainly needed to put in a performance for her team today. They were looking in a bit of a bad way, having lost early wickets. Oh, now.
That's big. And 6 to finish it off from Durham. Catherine Fraser gets all of that. And Durham's innings comes to a close on 141 for 5. The last over, well, 1, 3, 7, 9, 10, 16 runs off Farrant and Surrey's final over gives Durham a much needed boost to get themselves to a total of 141. And whilst I'd say, I imagine it's under par, it's definitely still a total that Surrey will need to, well, will need to chase and need to bat well to achieve. And Durham will be feeling in the game.
I think they have to back whatever runs that they've put on the board, and as a bowling unit, they're going to have to be really clear on how they're going to go out and take wickets. So here are the cards.
Well, the star of the show, Holly Armitage, with an unbeaten 50 off 49 balls. Catherine Fraser, that's 6, the only 6 of the innings, coming off the final ball of Durham's 20 overs. 2 crucial wickets up the top there for McDonald Gay. Clean bowling both Maddie Villiers and Susie Bates. Bess Heath with 27 off 18, and Mia Rogers 25 off 20, giving Durham a much needed impetus through that kind of middle to late overs. Bowling figures: McDonald Gay, Tash Farrant and Phoebe Franklin, the 3 seamers I want you to keep an eye out there for. McDonald Gay 2 for 16 off her 4 overs, just going at 4 runs and over. Tash Farrant going at just over a run a ball now after that expensive final over, and Phoebe Franklin 1 for 22 off her 4 overs. The match summary, well, here's the lay of the land as it stands. Durham 141 for 5 off their 20 overs. Well, for the mid-innings break, we have Ben Folkes and Dan Lawrence playing Guess the Ranking in Cricket 24 on the Xbox. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with the second innings.
Do you think each other will be happy with each other's scores?
I think you'll be happy with the eyes. They look fabulous.
They always do.
I think Cricket 24 doesn't like you or respect you as a cricketer. That's all I say.
Hey, what's up guys? Benny here, and today I'm joined by some of the stars of the Surrey County Cricket Club, Ben Folkes and Dan Lawrence. Thanks so much for joining us. Bro Teams has been added to Cricket 24, and we're going to be doing a blind ranking of your teammates. For those that are wondering how this is going to work, I'm going to be pulling out names at random, and once you place it on the board, you cannot move it. So if you put someone in thirds and someone else comes out, they can't be changed, all right? And also for you at home, there are going to be some awesome chances to win some great prizes, including a signed Surrey shirt, an Xbox Series S, and 12 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. To enter, all you have to do is put hashtag #ScoreMoreWithXbox in the comments. How you feeling?
Nervous. It's not the easiest thing to put someone smack bang last, one of your teammates. So we'll have to buy some coffee to make it up to people, I reckon.
First person we have is Will Jacks.
Oh, come out hot.
Right, 1 to 11. Where do you think, and remember, this is his overall rating, right, in Pro Team.
What do you reckon? Should we slot him in at?
I think 4.
Slot him in
So
at
give us
4.
a little bit
Give you a bit
of
of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll put Will in 4th, all right? Chris Jordan.
I reckon we can slot CJ in at 5.
Tom Curran.
I think we fill up the middle
Fill up
first.
the middle?
Yeah,
6 or 7?
Put him at 6.
6.
Put him
Right,
at
6. All right. Gus Atkinson.
It'd be pretty tough after the last 12 months not to put him quite high up.
I agree, but I don't know, like, if Sam Curran comes flying out, he obviously takes up here.
I'm quite happy with Gus at 3.
Happy with him at 3?
Yeah, shove him at 3.
Yeah, go on then, chuck him
We'll
3.
make some tough decisions later.
Next, Smith.
Sounds personal if I put him low, so I got probably 11. But he's like going to be one of the best players in the world quite soon, so I think he could slide at 2.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go 2.
J-Roy.
Is that one of England's best white ball players? But I mean, I'm reserving that if Sam Curran comes out of the pack.
Yeah, let's put him at 8.
8, yeah.
Let's put him at 8.
Ollie Pope.
Oh, Pope. Jeez, I forgot about Popey.
Oh, goodness gracious. Got to be 7.
I think he's got to go 7, and then we just got to bite the bullet.
Pope in at 7.
Evans.
Another unbelievable player.
I think we need a little wiggle room at 9 still. I think 10.
Sorry, Loza.
You've got yourself.
I'm happy to take 11. That's a good, pack of players.
Straight down.
You said last 12 months as well, and it's not gone well for me, so stick me down there.
Get that in there.
We've got 2 more. And you've mentioned him a few times already.
Stick him in. Stick him in at the top.
Get him straight out.
He's done some pretty good things.
Sam Curran, right at the top there. And then last, right, if you want to do the honours of putting yourself on the board.
That in there. Yeah, and then Loza at number 1. There you go. No, I'd probably slot in. I'd probably slot in at 9.
Sadly,
me at
rules.
9.
All right, so we've got your blind rankings, and now it is time for the reveal. We're going to work our way from the bottom to the top, but we're gonna leave you guys till last to see exactly where you are. So we're going to start with Evans. He's a 74 rated.
For what I reckon people would rate, 74 is fair.
Right, next we got J-Roy. Right, what rating do you think?
77, I'm going to go.
Yeah,
77?
77, yeah, I think that's...
Oh, you undershot him. He's an 80.
Oh, he's an 80.
80.
Mr. Pope.
Popey, I mean, he's got to be 82 minimum, I would say.
It's actually an 88.
88.
88.
Sorry,
wow,
Popey.
we're miles off.
Did he help put the cards together? Or what's
Hey,
going
it's
on?
from last year, yeah, he put it borrowed. Got Tom Curran.
Early 80s, 82.
82.
Yeah, I don't mind 82.
You're very, very close.
83, yeah.
83.
83.
Chris Jordan.
It's just got to be the same, isn't it?
I would, yeah, I'm putting him 83 as
We'll
well.
go 83.
He's an
81.
81. We got Jax.
We'll go 86 for Jaxie.
Go 86.
I can already tell based on this, he's going to be fuming.
Is it? No.
He's at 79.
Oh my.
He's like, you're
What a
like,
week, what a week.
just have to be above an 80. And he's got a 79.
And he can't whack it. He's 78 on the whacking. And he's going to take that terribly.
It's quite funny, though.
We've next got Gus.
Should we go 85?
I think it could be higher. 87.
We'll meet in the middle. 86.
Bang. The first
there
one that
you
you got
go.
on the money. 86.
There you go.
Smith.
For me, like, obviously he took my job. So if he's like a 98, then that makes me feel a lot better. The 12 months he's had, he's going to be really highly rated. But looking at the other scores, maybe an 85 or an 86 again.
All right, well, you actually hit it with
85, there you go.
85 rated.
85.
We've got the last 3.
The golden child at first and then us.
Sam Curran, do you think he is the highest rated?
Has to be.
I reckon he could be our first 90.
He's actually an 86. All right, I feel like the nicest way of doing this next one,
That means they're bad scores then.
I'm not going to show you. You're going to hold your own cards. Don't look,
Can I look at his?
right? All right, you can look at each other's. Do you think each other will be happy with each other's scores?
I think you'll be happy with the eyes. They look fabulous.
They always do.
But I think your score, considering the board, I think Cricket 24 doesn't like you or respect you as a cricketer as well as
So based off of that,
Brilliant. I'm excited to have a look at this.
All right,
I reckon,
in 10.
I reckon I'll be mid-70s.
77.
I'll take
See what I
that.
mean by the eyes though?
Wow, yeah, good
Lovely.
mince pies.
Piercing.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It's very respectable.
All right, now Ben, what are you thinking?
Probably a 76.
76.
76.
Yeah, that's being very humble.
Am
Have
I
a
higher
look.
than 76?
Have a look. You're actually
Ah,
an
an 82.
82.
So you think I'm better than Loz?
Let's have a look at your...
I feel like the only thing I'm known for is the 69, which is kind of puts my career into a bit of a bad place, but oh well. They've clearly never seen me bowl as a youngster.
All right, so this is your blind rankings. This is the actual order. All right, and boom, that is the actual setup of all the rankings. Do you think everyone's going to be happy with their scores?
Yeah, it's obviously a brilliant 11. I'd be pretty happy walking out on the field with that team.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us for this. And remember, if you want a chance of winning a signed Surrey shirt, an Xbox Series S, and 12 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, put hashtag #ScoreMoreWithXbox down in the comments. Thanks for joining us so much, boys.
No worries, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Taking first strike for Surrey is number 4, Brian Smith.
Welcome back to the Kia Oval for Surrey's run chase of Durham's total of 141. We're almost ready to go. Trudy Johnson has ball in hand for Durham. Bryony Smith will be facing up for Surrey, and she's joined in the middle by England international Danni Wyatt. Hodge, I'm Cameron Ponsonby. I'm joined by Kirstie White. And well, Surrey will be making sure they do get the total kind of across the 20 overs, but also get it quickly. That's a fine start from Smith. Tucking it off her hip, they'll be able to get back for 2. And what was it I was insinuating there before the cricket very rudely interrupted my thought process was, Surrey, there are bonus points at play here, so if you can win quickly at a certain rate, you're able to get 5 points for a win rather than 4. Is that something that Surrey will be thinking about, or will it be just a case of win, doesn't matter how, get the job done?
Yeah. You asked me that right when the bowler was at the top of their mark, Cam.
That's fine, that's okay. I wanted to give you some time to think about it.
Yes, no, it will be something that's in their mindset. Now, we know that these two are capable of probably going out and doing this very quickly. However, I would imagine the first thought process is let's just cross that bridge when it comes. So let's win the game first. If we can do it with bonus points, then we'll... Oof.
It's a very wide delivery from Johnson.
Very wide. I think Bryony Smith missed out there, actually. Let's get ourselves into a good position, and then we can focus on trying to pick up the bonus points, but let's settle first. I think sometimes the danger of going out and trying to score runs and accumulate runs really quickly is that actually you can lose wickets. Oh.
Snuck through keeper Bess Heath. And it looks like Surrey are going to be able to get back for 2. Wait for Nigel Long to signal a wide, so Surrey run 2, but they get 3 with the extra for the wide ball.
Yeah, Surrey picking up where Durham left off with their running there. Good awareness there from Bryony Smith to turn quickly and pick up the second run to accumulate 3 from that delivery that we bowled again.
Johnson's been very straight this over. Smith able to pick off another single. Takes Surrey on to 6.
Yeah, so those bonus points, there'll definitely be conversations around it, but again, I think it's just the mentality of building the base first and then taking them, rather than going out all guns blazing and potentially putting yourselves in a position where you could actually lose the game because you've lost too many wickets too quickly up front by going all gung-ho. But these two have been playing the game long enough that they'll be certainly aware of how to go about this chase.
Another wide ball from Johnson there. Johnson, one of 2 very impressive teenage seamers at Durham. Johnson along with Grace Thompson, both England under-19 internationals. Johnson, 3 wickets to her name in this competition. She got 2 for against Lancashire earlier on in the week. That'll be 4 runs. Beautifully weighted on by Danni Wyatt Hodge. Just a tiny bit of swing into the right-hander, but from 2 wide, she's able to just almost lean on the ball and run it down to deep third for a boundary.
This is a shot that we see Danni Wyatt Hodge play day in, day out. Actually, I think it's one of her go-to shots and how she gets herself in. So I'm really surprised that actually they don't have a deep third, because usually a lot of teams will have a deep third for Danni Wyatt Hodge, but they'll be very, very square, not too straight. Keeping the same field. Johnson has been bowling very straight.
Well, a perfect end to the over for Johnson, but an expensive one for Durham. 1 over gone, 11 runs on the board. It'll be interesting to see who opens the bowling with Johnson from the other end, whether it will be Grace Thompson, who had... Well, Durham had a very bizarre game yesterday because there was rain around and they beat Hampshire by 1 run on DLS. And the last over that was bowled, Thompson only conceded 3 runs. It's like, it is going to be Grace Thompson. And then it started chucking it down. And so they all shake hands. They go, oh, by the way, That was just enough for you guys to win. You've won by 1 run. And it was their first win of the competition, so they'll take it. They'll be very pleased for it. Well, it sounds like Grace Thompson's got a bit of a fan club in. There was a big cheer at the announcement of her entering the bowling attack.
Very attacking field they've got set up for her as well. So a slip-in play, I'd say almost a gully-ish, but very short third and a very backward point, tight on the ring.
Well, a boundary to begin proceedings. Mid-off was in with a chance of a catch there for a split second, but it eventually beat Mid-off to her left. We did see a little bit of a way swing there from Thompson, kind of justifying why they do have that slip in place. But you're right, those two fielders at backward point and kind of a backward point. Quite unusual.
She's very tall in stature, isn't she, Grace? Now I know the umpire is not the tallest, but she is. Just watching her walk past Danni Wyatt Hodge, I don't know how tall she is, but I think she must be around maybe 5'9", 5'10" by the looks of it.
I'll consult my cricketing who's who.
Oh, excellent.
See if they do have heights in it, so we'll see if Grace Thompson has filled her section out. Well, there wasn't much wrong with that delivery. And neither was there anything wrong with Bryony Smith's shots. Full and then whacks back over the bowler's head for 4 more, and this is a convincing start by the Surrey captain. See there, just full of length. 4 runs. I've got bad news. Don't think Grace filled in her section, which there's no quicker way for me to build animosity to a player than if they didn't fill in their bit of the cricketer's who's who. Pulled into the leg side. Deep square leg will chase after it. Well, she won't be able to stop it. Maddie Villiers there out in the deep.
And if anyone can stop it, it's Maddie Villiers. So that was unstoppable, I'm afraid.
Well, a very productive start to this run chase for Surrey. We've been reliably informed by our producer / director / leader, John Surtees. Now, if Surrey want the bonus point, they need to chase Durham's 140 in 15.5 overs. Full again. This time a dot ball.
So Cam, I thought we might have seen Phoebe Turner open the bowling.
Yeah.
Maybe next bowling change. We do know Holly Armitage loves a bowling change, so maybe, just maybe, that will be the next over.
Well, Phoebe Turner has had a fantastic season.
Yes, absolutely. Which is why I was surprised that she wasn't either end of the opening spell. She bowled particularly well at Guildford.
That's hacked up towards mid-on. Fielder at mid-on. I think Susie Bates there got herself in a bit of a muddle.
She went down in stages there, didn't she? I don't think she quite anticipated the direction the ball was travelling.
Well, it's been a bludgeoning start from Surrey. Bryony Smith been a bit of a bully there, just kind of whacking it straight. I think a bit of curve on the ball there maybe deceived Susie Bates, but the result was 16 runs off the over, 2 gone, 27 for none. I was talking to somebody who faced Phoebe Turner earlier on this season. Turner decided just to continually bounce her, and she's saying it wasn't much fun at all. Well, we are going to have a change of bowling. It looks like it's going to be the leg spin of Katie Levick coming into the attack. We saw this at Guildford as well, actually. Levick came into the attack during the power play. I believe she dismissed Kira Chatley. There's Levick readying us off alongside Nigel Long.
Dream start for Surrey. Continues there for Danni Wyatt Hodge, swept beautifully. Not a lot wrong with that delivery. I'd say potentially overpitched, but she swept that probably off of a length there. So into position really quickly, Danni Wyatt Hodge.
Sorry,
no, that's a. I don't think Katie Levick will probably think there was much wrong with that delivery, to be honest.
That was a completely respectable leg break. Dropping on middle and off, turning away from the bat. Danni Wyatt Hodge has decided she's after it. Well, now they're going to pinch one in the ring. And that's a real soul crusher for Durham. Because not only are the boundaries flying, but when Danni Wyatt Hodge decides not to lace one to the fence, she's still picking up runs. We're seeing a real dramatic change to the field as well for Bryony Smith. No fielders behind square on the leg side.
Oh,
that was a bit of a Q ender there. The ball spun viciously and just looped over Levick. So they're almost encouraging Bryony Smith to sweep. That's short and wide. 4 more to the total. The runs are flowing here at the Kia Oval. That run rate currently sitting at 13.5.
Just watch how Bryony Smith adjusts her feet here. She really splits her stance quickly, gets that back foot almost onto middle and off to punch the gap between extra cover and cover and pick up 4 runs.
4 more. Wow. Bryony Smith is flying here at the Kia Oval. She's on 27 off 13, and the boundaries just won't stop for the home team. And Durham have only got 100 runs left to play with. Surrey are already on 40.
Yeah, again, just adjusts her feet so quickly, but while maintaining that head position and loading it over the front leg to keep the ball down and flat across the surface. And it quickly runs away for 4 across this square that elongates throughout the entirety of South London.
Now, if Surrey are quick, they might be able to pinch 2 here. Smith's found a gap and Wyatt Hodge is alert to it. And aside from hitting every ball for 6, I think this has been the perfect start for Surrey. They can't have asked for anything better. 3 overs gone, 42 for none.
Yeah, and I think they've recognised from their bowling innings that there are 2s to be taken if you run hard. And I think maybe at the start of the season, particularly when this pair were quite new working together and batting together, that they may not have run those 2s. But actually, having seen how Durham went about their batting and how well they ran between the wickets, yes, they didn't accumulate the boundaries that they would have liked to, but that is just really just accompanying those boundaries so nicely and picking up. How many was that off that last over? Was it?
Oh, you're testing me there.
How many boundaries were there? 1, 2,
4 boundaries.
3.
I'll get it.
I think there was maybe 18 off the over then.
Well, I can confirm to you, it was only 3 boundaries.
3 boundaries, 16.
2 and a 1, so 15 runs.
15 runs off the over.
Trudy Johnson, a change of ends for her, so still no Phoebe Turner into the attack. Bit of tail into the right-hander and it beats backward square leg. Wyatt Hodge again, she's so quick between the wickets, is able to scamper through for 2. The 2 fielders on the boundary for Durham at the moment, a deep square leg and a kind of a deep mid-wicket cow cornery. So you'd imagine Durham will be looking to kind of hammer a hard length on a kind of 4th stump. That's full. And allows for Wyatt Hodge to throw her hands through the line. And it's another boundary for Surrey. 48 for none. And just 20 balls bowled so far. Look at that run rate. 14.4 between these 2.
And there's nothing different in the way that they've gone about this run chase and going about picking up runs as that they have all of this blast campaign. So they accumulate where they can and they pick up boundaries off of any width that's available on offer.
Should just be 1 run.
Danni Wyatt Hodge is one of the only women's players I see that plays the pull off the one leg, that traditional almost hook. So in the women's game, the pace isn't obviously as prominent as it is in the men's, so a lot of women's players actually will pull off of the front foot, but Danni Wyatt Hodge actually just sits back and plays off the back foot.
Chipped, she's Bryony Smith has timed that exceptionally well. He's flown off the bat to the fielder. Brings up the 50 of just 3.4 overs. It's 22 deliveries. Danni Wyatt Hodge, I do think it's one of the most aesthetic shots in cricket, the kind of one-legged pull. It's kind of, obviously, Brian Lara has the trademark over that particular shot.
Yeah, exactly. The hook as well for 6.
Wyatt Hodge thinks about coming back for 2, but Maddie Villiers is in off the rope, sharpish. Johnson is getting some really nice shape into the right-hander, just the line hasn't quite been right to allow her to kind of build up any dot ball pressure.
Yeah, it almost feels as though Durham are on the defence here. That whole mid-wicket region is completely empty as well.
One bounce and fielded. No, well, a Paige Schofield special from Grace Thompson there. Unnecessarily spectacular from Thompson. Runs past the ball. I think because we have had a bit of rain about in South London, the outfields are a little bit slower, probably a bit slower for the first time this season. And players are scampering past the ball, used to it skipping on. 4 overs gone, 53 for none. We'll see if we have a change of bowling. Bess Heath does have her helmet on, so expect to see, well, I think I spy a Phoebe Turner coming into the attack.
I think you're correct. So the 12th is just coming on to take the helmet off and give Bess Heath her cap. So I think we will be seeing Phoebe Turner. What I will say is it's nice to see Danni Wyatt Hodge. She really looks like she's enjoying herself. And in that interview before the game with our colleague Sam, she seems quite relaxed. She seems to be enjoying this Surrey environment. Obviously, it's new for her, so she's enjoying playing at the ground. Obviously, it's a massively prestigious ground to be playing at. So to call it home doesn't even go unmissed on this veteran England player, but to see her scoring some runs and looking relaxed and enjoying herself out there is really positive signs, having been dropped from that England one-day squad.
Finds the cap again. It doesn't matter who's bowling at the moment. Wyatt Hodge or Smith will find the boundary. Phoebe Turner's spell starts with a 4.
On the up, driven really nicely there. Just waits on it, holds her back, keeps that top elbow nice and high and drives successfully for 4 through the extra cover region.
I think she just had her heart in her mouth for a tiny bit there. Cover in the game. A precious dot for Durham. Run rate required, only 5.5 and over. They need wickets, a lot of them, and quickly.
Yes, and where Seam had been so successful for Surrey, it's not quite had the same impact here for Durham.
There is that one-legged pull, and it beats mid-wicket, and it'll be 4 more. Surrey are putting on a clinic here at the Kia Oval. We've seen lots of shots of the crowd. We've got lads in on stag do's, we've got families. It's a day for all occasions and all events here at the Oval. And there we go, a replay again of Danni Wyatt Hodge. She moves on to 25 off just 11 deliveries. It feels impossible. The run rate's still going up at the moment. 13.5. It might have been as high as 14. I might have lied to you, listeners and viewers. I apologise. That'll be a wide.
Yeah, and this is where Surrey is so dominant and probably the best team when it comes to batting in the power play. They put on a clinic in terms of how to accumulate during those fielding restrictions where only 2 fielders are allowed outside of the ring. I don't think they're a team that does it better. And it's so important because when those 4 fielders go out, it does make scoring boundaries a lot harder. So they've given themselves a platform then just to continue to build.
Some smart fielding there at short 45. Stems the runs, be it briefly.
Both striking at over 200. Well, Bryony actually dead on 200. Danni Wyatt Hodge striking at 227.
Oh. Danni Wyatt just uses the crease so much to her own advantage, leaping back there and giving herself more time to cut the ball out to the boundary. And such is her kind of, what's the word, position placement, she's able to get back for 2.
Yeah, she really does love that corridor between third and backward point. That I would probably name that the Danni Wyatt channel, to be honest.
She looks to access it again. She might be able to get 2 again because she hasn't hit that particularly hard, and she's able to get back, just finding the pockets of this ground. Another fantastic over for Surrey comes to an end. 13 runs off it, 66 for none after 5. And it really strikes me, I think if you asked the average Joe about Danni Wyatt as a cricketer, they'd talk about her power and her ability to strike incredibly quickly. But when you're able to add that precision to your game, or have that precision as well to be able to access and use the pace of the ball behind square, and you add that to the power of being able to hit down the ground, well, the result is a cricketer who's played hundreds of times for England.
Yeah, she's so experienced. She knows her areas, and she can pick up length and she can pick up lines so easily that the second that ball leaves the bowler's hand, she knows exactly where she's putting it, but also how many she's getting from it as well. So she's already halfway down the track getting ready to turn for her second, because she's so clear on her plans. Change of bowling here. Susie Bates coming into the attack. First choice off spinner ahead of Maddie Villiers today.
Well, Susie Bates gets her match fees worth at Durham. She's been a fantastic signing. She doesn't bowl heaps for New Zealand anymore. Still turning her arm over in the domestic game. It was amazing. She bowled her first over of the recent T20 World Cup that happened in the UAE, in which New Zealand, of course, won. It was the final over of the semi-final against the West Indies. And I was there at the ground working it. And we were waiting for the ball to be in the hand of someone who has bowled at least one ball across the competition. Well, I don't know how that ball's ended up there at mid-wicket. It looked like it was heading down leg side. It's just kind of a bit of a miss-hit from Smith. And all the journalists looked up, realised it was Susie Bates, and kind of did a collective intake of breath because the story had changed. And Bates closed out the game, ice in her veins. She kind of might have even referenced, or one of her teammates referenced Michael Jordan in the post-match interview. Guided her team to the World Cup final, which they promptly won.
Yeah, she's a fierce competitor, is Susie Bates. You certainly would rather she was on your team, along with her amazing character. But yeah, she's always going to give you 100%. There's nothing less in her eyes.
White able to take a gentle single into the leg side. Here we go. I've got the stats up for you. So Susie Bates bowled that final over in Sharjah. Took 1 wicket, conceded only 6 runs. As New Zealand won by 8 runs, so she was defending 15. Pulled very firmly but straight to the fielder. It's a very casual pick-up by Thompson on the boundary there. It was racing towards
it. Was.
No long barriers to be found here. And it was the first over that Bates had bowled in over 15 or so matches.
See, I love that, because what I think is the opposition wouldn't have planned for it. So they haven't done their scouting, they have no idea what to expect. And as so often, obviously she wasn't a debutante, but as a player on debut, when they're often so successful, is because the opposition have no idea what's happening. So I think it's a great move, sneaky, I love it.
Oh, she's coming back, going round the wicket to Danni Wyatt. Pigeons scatter. Maddie Villiers does the fielding. So 4 balls, 4 singles. So the kind of bleeding has been stemmed to an extent by Durham. Surrey are already halfway there. 70 on the board, 72 to get.
Oh.
chance for a collision between the fielders, a miscommunication, and the chance goes begging. I think normally when you see that instance where fielders potentially collide, the ball's in the air for a long time. Here it was such a simple catch in the ring. Will it be out this time? That's phenomenal from Maddie Villiers. Superb fielding in the deep. She watched the ball over her shoulder, caught the ball with her fingers kind of pointing towards the sky, threw it behind her. She saved 6 runs.
That's fantastic, Maddie Villiers take a bow. But as so often is the case, you've been dropped the ball before, and that by all means should have been 6 had Maddie Villiers not pulled out something that she so often does. Every season she pulls at least 1 or 2 of those absolutely phenomenal diving catches, stops, saves out of the bag. It's just what she does.
That was wonderful. That was so aesthetically pleasing. How sharp and kind of measured
she loves
her excellence.
She loves doing that at the Oval. During the 100, her amazing diving catch over the back of her right shoulder when she was fielding it, I think it was mid-wicket. She's an athlete, an acrobat actually, I'd say, because she can throw herself all over the place.
Well, she's all in the action at the moment. She's finished her diving stop and she's now into the attack to bowl. Smith knocks the ball along the ground to take a single, so we are out of the power play now, so Durham will be able to have 4 fielders on the boundary. An action-packed over there from Susie Bates. Well, relatively quiet 4 balls, and then with the dropped catch kind of mid-off, and then the superb diving effort from Maddie Villiers to prevent a boundary. We see fielders scuttling around now as Villiers gets what she wants. Long off in place. So from deep square leg all the way around to long off, there are fielders on the boundary. Well, Kirstie White beside me silently predicted what was about to happen. There was just backward square leg in place behind square on the leg side. Kirstie White gestured that she reckoned Danni Wyatt was going to go immediately to the sweep, and so she did. But it was well fielded at short fine leg by Katie Levick.
Yeah, for me, I think I'd actually go 4 out on the leg side. Or what I would have is I'd have my square leg really backward of, because Danni Wyatt actually is a square sweeper, and she quite often sweeps behind square. So I'd either have a square leg in the ring in front and then like a deep square leg. Or I'd go 4 out on this leg side and come round the wicket.
Okay. Is that just to kind of close off? If she wants to take a risk where you're hitting over mid-off,
yeah,
it's kind of where you're kind of saying fair play, well done. She makes herself space, and it's well fielded in the ring. Durham have packed that offside. You saw there the 4 fielders in a row.
Yeah. So for me now, if I'm Maddie, I'd be coming round the wicket. There we go. Just to make it, because she's so strong through extra cover, that actually by coming round the wicket, it makes that in to out really difficult. I mean, she's a world-class player, of course she can do it, but it just changes the angle.
And that sneaks through. And it should run away for 4, and it does. So a very fine over from Villiers ends with a boundary. Surrey, well, they're doing exactly what they need to do at the moment. They're continuing to tick along. And just a slight miss of line there from Villiers, giving White space. After 7 overs, the score is 78 for none, and Surrey just needs 64 more for victory.
Yeah, and that's just one thing. I love what Maddie Villiers did there. She's decided, I'm going to change the angle up. I want to force you to play into the onside, but in doing that, you have to bowl straight. You cannot offer any width, particularly with every fielder up on the offside. The minute you give width, you're basically giving a free pass for 4. So, yeah, Villiers will be disappointed with the way she finished that over. Katie Levick now returning from the Vauxhall end. It's a really nice line there from Levick, pitching on middle.
She'll be a bit more comfortable bowling outside of the power play. She does bowl regularly inside the power play, but I think for any leg spinner it's a really difficult task to be confronted with, where batters are actively looking to get after you and kind of hit you to the moon where possible. So only have 2 fielders allowed on the boundary. Six. That is massive from Danni Wyatt. It lands in the seats and bounces back onto the field of play. And Wyatt going to that sweep shot. And she launches the first maximum of Surrey's innings. And that was a skip down the wicket and then sweep.
Yeah, I thought just before that I was finding this field quite interesting. So they have sweepers out on the offside and the onside, and then 2 straight out. So I'm not sure Levick is bowling with 100% confidence here.
Let's cut into the offside on this occasion for 1 more run.
For me, it doesn't look like Levick's trying to dictate where she wants the batters to score their runs, or where she's happy to be hit. So it'll be interesting. Same field here for Bryony Smith.
Now Smith goes to sweep. She's got that very square, and Villiers gives chase. Cannot get there in time. It's 4 more. This Surrey innings just continues to go from strength to strength. It's 90 for no loss now. Both opening batters in the 40s.
It's beautifully swept. Lovely head position, straight down towards the ball there for Bryony Smith. So she's bowling straight. So this is why the field doesn't make a lot of sense to me here. If you're going to bowl straight, you need your square leg out.
This time slightly outside off stump, and Smith's just able to work it for 1 down the ground. Levick's over, comes to an end, 91 for none after 8. So was that line she kind of bowled at the end there more fitting of the field she had?
Yeah, I'd say so, but I think, you know, both of these batters sweep, so you have to be aware of that when you're setting your field and when you're bowling to your plans. So, you know, if you know both your batters are sweepers, then you really should have your square leg out on the boundary. And I found that the deep mid wicket was very straight as well. So they're not. They were kind of in a bit of a no man's land, and both obviously mid wicket and extra cover were in on the one here, but I feel that there wasn't really a clear plan with that over.
Well, Phoebe Turner is back in the attack from the pavilion end. Both Smith and Wyatt eyeing up half centuries in the not too distant future. And that'll be a wide ball. Just messaging our colleague Daniel Norcross for some information. We're talking about having those 4 fielders in the offside ring, and having spoken about the Women's World Cup last year, it was Bangladesh. They've referred to it as the Great Wall, and they've had 5 fielders in the ring on the offside. Sorry, we'll scamper through for a quick single. You nodded knowingly there. Was that common knowledge at the time, or?
Well, no, but I agree. You know, if you have those fielders on that, I wouldn't say on the ring. Sometimes, like some people have called it like an A-frame, so it's almost a straight line. So you're just almost a wall shape. So you're happy for them to have one, that's fine, but nothing can get through. Hence the kind of wall line.
One more added to the total. Wyatt in pursuit of her 3rd half century of this competition. Bryony Smith's first. If she scores 6 more runs, they're going toe-to-toe at the moment, 44 apiece. Bryony Smith hogging the strike a little bit. Faced 4 more deliveries. We see a slight tweak to the field as fine leg comes up into the ring. It's heaved into the leg side fielder, underneath it and caught. Well, Maddie Villiers isn't going to drop those.
That's the commentator's curse, if ever there was one.
I think it's okay. Surrey will be all right. A 94 for 1.
Oh dear.
Short length delivery. Smith pulls into the leg side. It didn't sound brilliant off the bat. Villiers kind of swung underneath it and took a simple catch. I don't think Smith will be too disappointed for her day's work. It looks like we're going to have Kira Chatley coming out at 3. She has been listed at 3 in previous fixtures. So we just see a replay. The ball coming quite high up off Smith's bat. And Villiers completes the catch. I think maybe because Surrey are in such a strong position, they're looking to give Kira Chatley some time in the middle rather than, well, I think they know that Grace Harris can bat.
I think that's quite clear, yeah.
So they go, you know what, Grace, you keep your feet up for now.
But you know what, I really like that, and that is Surrey to a T. So yes, there's a bonus point on offer, so I think Surrey need 48 from the next 6 overs, actually to the ball now, to pick up that bonus point. Surrey will be concerned only with the win at this point, and they're saying, do you know what, yes, bonus points are ideal, but we want our batters in form and we want them to face as many deliveries as they possibly can, because what good is it going into a final if our batters aren't primed and ready? So actually, yes, I could send Grace Harris in and we could finish the game in the next 4 overs. However, I want all of my batters to be exposed to as many balls as they can face, and be ready for what's coming in future games. It's a really positive move.
Well, I wonder if that challenge has still been kind of put to Kira Chatley, is that we are interested in that bonus point, by the way, and you've still got a run chase, a more kind of pressurised situation of chasing 48 off 6 overs, or just under, rather than 48 off 12, 11.2. My maths isn't being brilliant today, it's okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you know these are the training sessions that they would have had week in, week out throughout the winter. These would be the challenges that they would have hypothetically faced and had lots and lots of conversations about. And I would probably be very sure that as Bryony passed Kira on the way through, she may have mentioned something around, you know, this is how many we need to get the bonus point in.
Well, that almost finds the hands of mid-on. So 3 dots to start Kira Chatley's innings. The score is 94 for 1 after 9 overs. Kira Chatley, you were there for this innings at Beckenham, and I wish I'd seen it. She made, I think it was about 95 or 49 deliveries. And she struck 20 boundaries, 19 of which were 4s. I can't quite get my head around the idea of hitting a boundary every other ball and everything being along the carpet, and how that's even possible, really, in a T20 fixture.
Oh, it was a spectacle of a day. It was a fantastic day in terms of, you know, representing women's cricket and the brand, but for Kira as well, you know, everything she hit went for 4. Every ball. It was like she'd been given the lottery numbers beforehand and she knew exactly what to do. It was like an out-of-body experience, I think, for everyone watching and probably for Kira herself. So I think there will be that element of, gosh, I've got that to live up to. I've kind of made a bit of a reputation. There is a bit of a name for me and I need to score some runs.
Well, that's a fantastic shot from White Hodge. She gets inside the line and almost flips the ball up over short fine leg. We've seen 3 different types of sweep from White Hodge today. We've seen the hard sweep square, we've seen the sweep over mid-wicket, and now we've seen the almost lap lofted sweep. I don't really know what the name for that would be. When you watch it on your screen, you can see exactly for what Danni Wyatt Hodge made it. To follow up the boundary, she takes one. 10 years ago, that would have been described as good cricket. And now, they go 1 hit, 2 sixes in a row.
Yeah, whenever I see Danni Wyatt Hodge, it's quite a signature of her game, actually. So she'll hit a boundary and then she'll take a 1 the next ball. And all I can hear in my head is ADR just shouting, cricket, from the boundary.
Alice Davidson-Richards not playing today. She was in the squad after completing her duties with England. I wonder if she's, well, I'm sure we will see her at some point over the campaign. Charlie's still yet to get off the mark.
And that's the next headache for Surrey. So who do they drop for Alice Davidson-Richards, for Alice Capsey and for Sophia Dunkley to come back into the squad?
Lofted straight. Kira Chatley goes the distance. 6 runs to bring up the Surrey century. 4 dot balls Kira Chatley had faced, and that was enough for her. She runs down the wicket and launches Maddie Villiers back over her head. And I know we were just talking about the 4s she struck in her innings at Beckenham, but I seem to have noticed every time I click on a scorecard now where Chatley's batting, there are always a couple of 6s next to her name as well. She does seem to be adding that power to her game, as well as the placement that we've just seen there. She drops a single into the leg side.
Yeah, Kira Chatley's a very diligent player. She, whenever she's not training, she's always in the gym. Sometimes to her detriment through injuries and at points over training. Probably got the balance right now, but she's added that element of power to her game to clear ropes.
.50 for Danni Wyatt-Hodge. A third of the competition, and she's been showing her international class throughout. Just 26 balls to reach the milestone today. She spoke ahead of today's play about how much she is enjoying playing at the Kia Oval and how much she is loving having the 3 feathers on her chest. She's proving it in every innings she's playing so far for the club.
Yeah, this is really great for her, and I'm really happy. You know, there's nothing better when you've missed out on selection and you've had to kind of go away and work on your game, to be able to consistently then score runs and kind of build your confidence back up and make you feel good about your game. I'm really happy for her. You know, she works really hard, she trains really hard, she's a great member of the team to have around the environment. So, you know, this is the fruits of her labour coming.
Well, we're notionally halfway through Surrey's innings. 10 overs gone. The score's 107 for 1. Phoebe Turner 1 for 16 off her 2 overs. She'll be bowling her 3rd over. She's so far, well, Susie Bates over only went for 5 runs, but by taking the sole wicket of the innings, we'll call Phoebe Turner the pick of the bowlers so far. Bess Heath has a helmet run out to her, so it looks like the keeper will be up to the stumps. .35 to win for Surrey, but they will be looking to get it done before the end of the 15th over.
Yeah, they actually need to do it in 35 balls, I think it is, to pick up that bonus point.
I'll run a ball. Lofted into the leg side. Is Maddie Villiers under it again? Not this time, it just falls short. Villiers rockets the ball in. 1 bounce off the square of the oval, hammering into Bess Heath's gloves. It's remarkable how, with not too much of a personnel change between the T20 Women's County Cup and now, how different a team Surrey feel at the moment. I suppose we've had Danni Wyatt-Hodge coming back in, you've got Tash Farrant back in with the ball, and now the England players are coming back as well, and all of a sudden it feels like a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they've certainly hit their stride now, haven't they? I think they were kind of peaking, but they hadn't quite reached their peak when they got into that final for the County Cup. And I certainly think they probably had to go away and really lick their wounds, having lost the County Cup, being clear favourites, I think, on the day. So I think this is probably where they're deciding, actually, no, we have to be ruthless, and to do that we have to execute in every element of the game, whether it's with the bat, whether it's with the ball, whether it's in the field. And they're certainly just showing how good they are as a team.
Short, but Kira Chatley gets all of it. A couple of bounces over the rope, and just before that delivery, Bess Heath had taken her helmet off, dropped back, and maybe Chatley thought this is going to be the short ball now. And with a little bit of a prediction in place, she got it right. She was so early on that. She's pulled that over almost kind of like extra mid-wickets, as it were, almost close to a wide long on.
Yeah, her hands got a bit cramped and they dropped a little bit, so she did quite well to get it away. Probably missed a trick there, Durham, by bringing their deep mid-wicket up into the ring.
They're going to look for a single. Kirstie White implores for Surrey to get two, and Danni Wyatt Hodge agrees. Never run on a misfield. One of the biggest lies in the sport. It's just silly. They don't have the ball anymore.
The ball, I mean, I think that the saying does still stand. However, the ball did get through and then continue to roll past the fielder. But Kira obviously couldn't quite see that, as she was probably hiding the ball behind her. But yeah, I don't know. I do believe in don't run on a misfield 90% of the time.
I just think they don't have it anymore. Just keep running. That's gone to the right of long on. That's 4. It wasn't the cleanest connection off Chatley's bats, but the result was 4 runs all the same. She's now on 17 off 10, having not scored off her first 4 deliveries. It's just 24 more runs to win for Surrey now. See here, low full toss, toe end of the bat, but the placement from Chatley and being able to get it wide of long on means it's 4 runs.
What number do you bat, Cam?
Bat 9. I don't want to talk about it. Chatley goes for the scoop.
So maybe don't listen to Cam when he says, don't worry, the fielders don't have the ball anymore. Because he's not out there in the middle making these decisions.
I'm often run out, that's why.
Yeah, how many times have you been run out this season?
I remember as a kid I had a reputation for being a really good runner between the wickets because I'd just try and run everything. But actually what that meant is I just ran all the time.
I ran all of my teammates out.
Yeah, it's weird. Cam's a really good runner between the wickets, but he keeps getting run out. I was like, yeah. But occasionally you get in, they go, God, that's great.
That's a great run, yeah.
11 overs gone, 118 for 1. The lads in town there on screen. I'd love to know what those caps say. It's a big day out, big London day out. I wonder if they're at the beginning of their day or their end of their weekend. Trudy Johnson returns to the attack. The most scarring moment. Neither of my parents ever played cricket. When we were playing with my dad in the garden, he pretended to have lost the ball in the bush. And so when I started running again, he just ran me out and cried.
You have to employ every tactic in garden cricket, to be fair.
I couldn't believe the level of betrayal. So I can't find it. Out. Right, Trudy Johnson having a bowl. That's wide, cut and well fielded again by Villiers. Backward point. Well, it's not Maddie Villiers. Whoever it is has just fallen over. Catherine Fraser there at backward point.
Who we've not seen bowl today, actually. And has been turning the ball big this season. I'm surprised that we haven't seen her.
Scotland's finest, Catherine Fraser. At that time, there's nothing she can do to prevent that ball flying to the boundary. And the onslaught from Surrey continues here. They're ticking along at well over 10 runs and over. And that's 4 more.
Speaking of obscure garden cricket rules, we had one in our garden where if the ball didn't hit the stumps, but it hit a particular panel of the fence, you were out because the neighbour's rabbit's hutch was the other side of the...
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And it got very distressed.
Was the rabbit hutch in a particular, did it prevent you? Are you one of those cricketers who had that weird quirk, like I can't play a cover drive because the rabbit hutch
I actually think it's why I got so good at this little dab down to third man, because I had to stop the ball hitting, and obviously in garden cricket you can't hit it through the garden windows, right? So you've kind of got to be a bit of a nerdler as well. Oh, that's beautifully placed.
A wonderful shot from Danni Wyatt Hodge.
Just too much width on offer here from Trudy Johnson. She's got 3 fielders out on the leg side, so deep, so long on, deep mid-wicket and a deep backward square. And then her cover sweeper is actually almost too straight. And you're just straying in line and beating that backward point twice in the over so far.
Well, it's another 4 runs to Surrey's total. It means they're just 16 runs away from victory. Three and 3. Danni Wyatt Hodge making hay here at the Kia Oval. Just that width on offer from Johnson. And Danni Wyatt is able to kind of throw her hands so quickly through the ball and just get enough of a contact to beat that fielder at backward point to her right and get 4. Catherine Fraser actually hasn't bowled in her last 3 matches, make it 4 of this, so maybe she's just carrying a little bit of a knock. But Surrey on track here, not only for a victory but a bonus point win at that. 12 runs to go. Danni Wyatt on 63. Six. Just getting enough on it there, Danni Wyatt. Susie Bates at long on was interested, but Wyatt, there is nothing that is going to stop her today. 18 runs off that Johnson over, and Surrey are only a couple of blows away from victory.
And the early train home.
And the early train home. Early line bike home for me. Do you know, I'll tell you this, it's not relevant to this day at all, but so I'm sure you saw the other day when the England men had their match against West Indies here, players got the line bikes in. So I came to the T20 a couple of days ago and I wasn't able to park my line bike in the normal place. I live nearby, I'll always line bike in. And I went, oh, it's a match day. Obviously that means it changes the parking areas. And I asked the Surrey operations director that. I went, can you not park near the ground on days when there's a match on? And he was like, yeah, no, we'll chat with the council. So I went, so where did the England lads park their bikes? And he was like, it was funny you say that. Joe Root, the lovely lad that he is, walks his bike all the way down to Kennington Park to park it there.
You used to always obey the rules. You can't be getting thrown off of Lime. You can't be getting a ban from the Lime bikes.
It would be a disaster. And I want to check and see whether some of the other players just took the fine and just went, oh, I'll be fine, I'll leave it here. But there we go. If you wanted any further confirmation, Joe Root, one of the finest gentlemen in the game, is one of the finest gentlemen in the game. There you go. Right, Susie Bates, she's going to bowl her second over. Just 6 runs to win for Surrey. Kira Chatley on strike. And there's one of the 6. Surrey will count them down here. One imagines they'll be able to get home this over. It'll be they'll sign off an incredibly comfortable win over Durham. And the 3rd this season. They've had a good time of it against Durham so far. Won by over 100 runs in the one-day game at Beckenham. They won by 70 runs in the T20 in the Cup at Guildford. And they're on track for a 9-wicket win here.
Yeah, also gives them a little bit more extra rest, a few extra hours extra rest before their next game here on Wednesday versus the Blaze.
Well, dot ball somehow there at the end. Susie Bates got herself in a real muddle.
They're almost synchronised teddy bear rolls there from Chatley and Susie Bates at the non-striker's end.
Wondered just before that ball whether Wyatt might try and finish it with a 6. I think she had a bit of a go there, but as it happens, it's just 4 runs to win. Chatley might be eyeing up that offside boundary. No one in the deep on the offside other than long off, who's obviously straight.
Oh.
Well, that splits through Susie Bates' hands and nutmegs her on the way up to long on for a single. 3 to win. Quite a sedate end to this match so far, but Surrey ticking the runs off one by one. Still a chance that Wyatt on 70 off 35 could bring it to a close of 1 blow. We'll see if she's got one last shot of entertainment in her. And there we go. Surrey go 4 in 4. Their unbeaten start to the competition continues, and that woman on screen there has been the star of the show. 74 off 36 for Danni Wyatt. It's been an international level innings from England's opener, proving why she's been so instrumental to that T20 team for so many years. Her 3rd half century of the competition has guided Surrey to a 9-wicket win. Wow. Kirstie White, that's the perfect day for Surrey, is it not?
Perfect day, and it's a day that's been on the cards for a while, but I think that will probably be one of the most pleasing performances all-round bat, bowling in the field. 10 out of 10 performance from Surrey, and they'll feel really positive moving forward to their next game here at the Kia Oval versus the Blaze.
Well, the Blaze will be in town on Wednesday. The games in this Vitality Blast do come thick and fast. But Surrey, 4 from 4, must be fancying themselves as favourites for this competition. Durham slipped to 1 win out of their 4 matches. Their trip of the South comes to an end for now after they played Hampshire yesterday. But Kira Chatley in fine form with the bat herself. She finishes on 19 off 13. She finishes on 19 off 13. Surrey, well, cruise home for a bonus point win. With the ball, Surrey were excellent as well. The seamers were the star of the show. I know we mentioned her at the top of the show. The show? I keep saying the word show. Why not? But Tash Farrant back in Surrey egg blue, and she was superb with the ball today.
Yeah, really fantastic. And the Surrey seamers bowled so well that actually you felt that there was something in it for seamers for the day. So actually, thought there might be a bit more of a cautious approach by the Surrey batters with the Durham seamers, and potentially that there was something on offer there for those Durham seamers. But it was pure class from the Surrey bowlers in terms of their consistency in their lines and in their lengths, and then from the Surrey batters just executing their plans with the bat. Real consistency, slightly watchful at the start, but as soon as there was any width, away they went.
Well, here is the card for Durham's innings, and we're just talking about Tash Farrant and Rhiannon McDonald-Gay as the star seamers. Rhiannon McDonald-Gay dismissed both Maddie Villiers and Susie Bates. Up top, clean bowling, both. Tash Farrant accounted for Emma Marlowe and Mia Rogers. And Phoebe Franklin, let's not forget her, she was the third seamer, and it was that trio of Surrey seamers that really shone, because whilst they only took 5 wickets across the innings, they restricted Durham to just 140 runs. And here are those bowling figures. 2 wickets apiece for McDonald-Gay and Tash Farrant. But crucially, look at those economy rates. McDonald-Gay, 4 runs per over, and she was phenomenal today. She really nailed in on her lines and on her lengths to keep things tight at the top. But less pretty figures for Durham. You have Johnson, Thompson, Levick and Maddie Villiers all going at double figures and over. And all in all, here is the match summary. Durham 141 for 5. Surrey chased that down in 12.5 overs to finish 143 for 1. Danni Wyatt finishes 74 not out of 36 balls. That is it for today's live stream from the Kia Oval. I've been Cameron Ponsonby. Thank you, of course, to Kirstie White for joining me, and we'll be back on Wednesday to welcome the Blaze for the next encounter of Surrey Women's Vitality Blast season here at the Kia Oval. Thank you, and we'll see you then.